Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, along with G. Bush, Tyvis Powell. I'm Adam the Bull. We got a lot to get to today, guys. Danny Green, a brief Cavalier, good entertainer now that he's in the media. He made some interesting comments in a video recently that I want to follow up with him. So a lot of fun, but obviously a lot more talk about Myles Garrett. Tyvis and I weren't here yesterday, so obviously we'll get into that and we'll spin it forward with what should and could the Browns do here. So ton to get to today. We know there's a lot of people watching right now, so thank you to everybody that's with us. Guys, how we doing?
I'm all right, man.
G. Bush has been on the soapbox for 15 minutes before the show. He's pissed. I don't blame him.
I wouldn't say I'm pissed. I was just
frustrated. Is that better?
No, keeping it a buck.
G just understands. G is like me, where he's going to always side with the players, and he understands the frustration, between the player and the organization. And, that I get it too. Like
This is the antithesis of Project Stockpile.
Yeah.
And when you're this is Project Minimowski. and Project Minimowski is not fun.
Project Bankruptcy.
Yes.
It's sad. It's sad. I was thinking about the fact that Cleveland been through a lot, man. We lost a Lindor. Then we lost LeBron. Now we gonna lose
lost LeBron twice.
Miles. This is what is going on?
Listen,
what is going on?
Tyvis,
you know what I'm saying? Everybody come here
Tyvis,
and be like, Cleveland cool, Cleveland fun. We had the best time of our life, but then we lose the best players.
Hey, listen, you may have lost that, guys, but you gained me. Isn't that a fair trade-off?
I am sure.
Come on, so I tell people all the time.
Yeah.
And when I say conservative, I'm not talking about political stuff. So don't be triggered. The state of Ohio is a very conservative when it comes to the way that they think about football. They're more and sports in general. They tend to believe that coaches know best, general managers get the benefit of the doubt, and that players are replaceable. That's generally
that's.
In a lot of cases, it's true, though.
The problem is I've seen it both ways.
Yeah, right.
I've been in it. It always takes me back to Seattle when I think about how people think the scheme is better than the player.
Right.
Like Seattle with the LOB, it was you know what? Are they really that good, or can we go get any?
And that was true. It was true. The scheme wasn't better than the player.
Correct.
But there are a lot of players who are replaceable. Not all, certainly, but there are a lot.
To me, coaches and general managers are a dime a dozen. You can go get you a general manager to swing and miss just like the rest of them do every week. They just get paid more. Coaches, dime a dozen. People really believe that the system that these guys put out, that propaganda, is better than players. If you ain't got no players to run that, you're out of here.
I think there are 3 or 4 coaches worth something.
Right.
And the rest, and then there's a few that suck, and then the rest are just there. If they have the talent, they'll win. If they don't have it, they'll lose. There's only 3 or 4 coaches max that really make a special difference, in my opinion.
But that's what, today's society kills me, because it's nobody puts a lot of pressure on coaches anymore.
That's not true. Guys get fired all the time. What are you talking about?
It's not the same. If the team ain't performing well, I feel like, where is today? It's there is not a coach that coaches and develop. It's 2 separate things. You got people that develop, you got trainers that develop the talent, and you got coaches that just do the X's and O's. To where back in the day they did both. How am I going to trust that guy's going to do? You know how I know that guy going to make that play? Because I was in the weight room with that guy training this off season, and I was right there making him do all this extra stuff and making him do these drills. And now I know that when it's time to come, I know I got confidence that guy can make the play.
And there's no coaches doing that anymore?
What?
I'm asking you.
What? Professionally and in college? No.
I mean,
they're just CEOs.
You got a strength staff that do all that.
Oh, well, how long ago? I mean, you're not very old there, Tyvis. I mean, how long ago was that still happening?
I mean, I haven't seen. That was a high school thing.
Was Urban Meyer doing that?
No.
Okay.
So I just think sometimes this is it's the natural progression. It's human nature. Like, we want to believe that our leaders are great leaders. We want to believe so badly, but then every evidence that's right in front of your face that says this guy's not a good leader or a good coach or a motivator or developer, we think of reasons to stay the course because change is the ultimate no.
That's true. Now, the Browns, before Kevin Stefanski, fired guys quickly.
Rightfully so.
Now they have, and I agree, rightfully so.
So
I would say not rightfully so. I would have given Mike Pettin a little more time. Everybody else they fired, I think, rightfully so.
So let me ask you,
and probably Mike Pettin would have failed anyway, but I would have given him another year.
Let me ask you about, how long, if you are just as a casual fan, how long do you have to look at a player to be like, you know what, that guy's not going to be, he's not what I thought he was, or that guy's going to be.
Talking about football?
Yeah, football.
I don't consider myself a casual fan.
Okay.
I consider myself a diehard fan.
I apologize.
When it comes to football,
as a diehard fan, how can you look at a player and be like, after 1 year, and be like, you know what, I think that guy's going to be something, or that guy's bust. It's not what we thought.
I don't think so. Generally, no. I don't. As a fan, no, I don't
How long
think so.
do you think it takes?
It depends on the position. I'm not watching offensive linemen, right?
Right.
I think with a quarterback, in 2 years you have a pretty good feel for it. Because for all the talk about Geno Smith's comeback and Sam Darnold's comeback, does any team really want Geno or Sam Darnold?
No.
You go to the Super Bowl with Geno or Sam Darnold? Now, we'll see about Baker. Now, I don't think they're in the same category because Baker wasn't a bust here. It just didn't work out. I don't think anybody thought about Baker when he left here the same way you felt about Geno and Sam Darnold.
Darnold went to Darnold went to 5 different places.
Yeah, he was a back. Baker was never a back. I mean, he was for a couple of weeks in Carolina, but he was never a backup. So that's a different story. And we'll see. And I still don't think he can win a championship with Baker. But
no, I don't either.
We'll see. But certainly nobody thinks they can win a championship with Geno or Sam Darnold.
No, you're fighting.
So this idea that we gave up on them too early. No, now did people give up on Bryce Young too early? Yeah, I think so. He was on a team with zero talent, and they gave him half a season, and everybody was like, he sucks.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
A guy by the name of Siaka Ika, after his first year,
right?
Where were you at?
I thought he sucked. But but the truth is, I don't know well enough about
If he signed with
Siaka.
another team and had a decent Jordan Elliott's a good example of that. Who for 3 years we were laughing. He was playing in the fourth quarter of the first preseason game.
Yeah.
And then went on to have a pretty good season under Jim Schwartz. Got signed to a contract with San Francisco and was decent in San Francisco.
Did he? Was he decent?
I didn't watch, but just look at the numbers. He had relatively middle of the line.
It's hard. It's hard.
That's the problem I have.
Yeah.
The guys that went out there and said with a straight face, we're taking Anthony Bell, or no, that's David Bell,
Schwartz,
Anthony Schwartz, and Siaki Ika.
You combine those two awful
What's the
players.
third-round pick?
These are third-round.
Well, that leads us right into our first topic.
Yes.
We're going to talk Cavs. We got Danny Green coming on at 11:30, so we'll talk plenty of Cavs Celtics as well. But our first topic has to do with the Browns front office, and that is brought to us today by FanDuel. Super Bowl 59, one game, two teams, endless possibilities. There's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether you're predicting the first touchdown, who will take home the MVP trophy, or the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to place your bets and feel the thrill of every moment with live betting all game long. You can jump into the action, adjust your bets, and ride the wave of excitement from kickoff to the final whistle. Plus, make the Super Bowl even sweeter because new customers can score $200 when you make your first bet. Just place a $5 bet, and if you win, you get $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com/UCSS and bet with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 59. So, guys, any of you could start with this topic if you want. We'll talk more about the Super Bowl later in the week. But in the aftermath of the Myles Garrett trade, and Tyvis and Bull, you guys weren't here yesterday, so you can start your answers with just your kind of thoughts on the Myles Garrett trade. But back in 2020, Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski were hired by the Cleveland Browns. They walked into a situation with Baker Mayfield as the starting quarterback, Myles Garrett had already developed into an all-pro caliber player. They had Denzel. They had Bitonio. They had Nick Chubb. And since then, the Browns have one playoff win, a sub-500 record, absolutely no direction at the quarterback position. Nick Chubb is on the way out, or past his prime, and Myles Garrett has now requested a trade. But I asked you this on the phone yesterday. Can you think of a situation where an organization and/or a front office, however you want to place the blame, has fumbled the bag as bad as this Cleveland Browns current tenure has since they got here in 2020 to where we currently are today?
Yeah, recently, no. I can't think of a situation equivalent to this. Now, I don't think the Browns in 2020 were in as great a shape as maybe we're making it seem, but they were certainly in way better shape than they are now, and everything's gone negative. I can't, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. Obviously, I didn't think Baker was good enough. I still don't think he's good enough to win a Super Bowl with, but he's obviously, at this point in his career, a million times better than anything the Browns have had at quarterback since he has left. And the last 2 years he has played at a good level, which the Browns haven't had anywhere close to that. Everything else has been a disaster. I mean, if Myles Garrett ends up getting traded, that's it. Like, you went 3 seasons where you basically didn't win a game for 3 years to set yourself up. That first year with Kevin Stefanski, it all came together. They win the playoff game. They're competitive with the Chiefs in the conference semifinals. And since then, it's been a total disaster. Now, they did have a good season last year, but I think when we look at it now, we realize that last year was one of those anomaly seasons. It was not a sustainable way to win the way they won last year. They got some breaks and they got some magic. But really, if you look, I go like position group to position group, and I say quarterback couldn't be in worse shape. Running back couldn't be in worse shape. Wide receiver, okay. Jerry Jeudy's nice player. Not a superstar, but a good player.
But what else?
I don't know if we have anything else. I think Cedric Tillman's got potential, but we'll see. Tight end, I got a good solid player in Njoku. That's it. My offensive line's all old. My only good player on the defensive line wants to be traded. My only good player at linebacker has an injury that I don't know if he can play. And my best player in the secondary has had 6 concussions in the NFL. So, yes, I mean, where has been the drafting? Where has been the developing? The best player on this team under 25 is Martin Emerson. That's their best player under 25. That's your last 3-4 drafts. They have done a miserable job, Andrew Berry in particular, and it almost feels like yesterday, I wanted Andrew Berry to be fired. Once they decided to keep Stefanski, I was like, all right, they're a team. I guess you don't want to fire him. But I just feel like the way Myles Garrett threw his words, Andrew Berry's that is, right back in his face, to me that should be the final straw. If I'm Jimmy Haslam, I got to seriously think about firing Andrew Berry today because that is humiliating for the organization. For Myles Garrett, like players when they want to be traded, don't put out statements. The guy put out a statement and used Andrew Berry's words against him. What could be more humiliating than that? I think that should be the final straw for Andrew Berry. And yes, the Browns have dropped the bag as bad as any team has in modern. It
was very patronizing, Tyvis.
Yeah.
For Andrew Berry to say he's going to go from Cleveland to Canton. He just skipped over all this man's dreams and aspirations, bro. Just like no playoffs. He could have said, well, he's going to be, listen, we're going to get to the playoffs and we're going to have a long, sustained career with Myles and we're going to win a lot of playoff games. No, he said, thank you for participating. You're going to go right here. We're going to give you the Joe Thomas package. The no playoff wins, no Super Bowl rings, and we're going to send you to Canton. How's about that, big dog?
Yeah, honestly, first of all, they shouldn't have said that. Well, I know why AB said that.
He meant it in a good way, but I can understand why Myles Garrett took it.
Sounds wild.
In AB's mind, he's probably looking at the situation yes, have I missed on some draft picks? Yes. Did we miss on the Deshaun Watson thing? Yes. But his job right now is how am I going to get us out of this? You know, like I did this, so I got to get us out of this. I think that's kind of how you're looking at it. And I know that all of this came after Myles said he was going to meet with the higher ups to see the game plan, and then he'll go from there. And obviously him requesting a trade means that the game plan just wasn't appealing to him. And it was funny because after the season was over, after hearing him talk, I kept telling everybody, I was like, I think he is going to request a trade. I don't think he's going to stay because when you sit there and you throw out all these scenarios about we're going to go get this quarterback or we're going to draft this guy, it doesn't, when you look at where the Browns were, because it's not like they were just like close and lost by some field goals and stuff. Like it was bad. Like this thing was bad to the point where it was like you could tell guys was out there like, come on, let's do this and get it over with. Like it was one of those situations. So I don't think going to get just a quarterback or switching some coaches on the staff, that's going to bring everything back. Because it goes back to what you said. Not this past season, but 2 years ago when they had the successful season, there was a lot of they had some guys miss field goals. They had some calls go their way. You know, it was a way that, like you said, it's not sustainable. Yeah. You know, it wasn't like they were coming in there game in, game out better than everybody. It wasn't that. There was some games that they looked dominant, but it was a lot of games where it was like, all right, they got this PI call, or they got that holding call, or he missed that game-winning field goal. It was one of those things. So I think the Browns truly looked at it like, oh, we're there, we're close. And I think that they really weren't. And on top of that, some guys regressed this season. That's what it is. Some guys took a step back when you thought that they would take a step forward. But ultimately, when you look at where they're at now, it ultimately comes down to the fact that you did not hit on them draft picks. You did not develop the right guys. Because if you look around the league, there's always guys that you hear about them. They get a little spark. We got this little third-round pick. We got this fifth-round pick. You know, he wasn't starting the season, but he's come in and he's made some plays. Like, the Browns don't have – a lot of the times it's undrafted guys. Diabate, Ronnie Hickman. You got guys that's undrafted that comes in and do noise, but you're missing on the guys that you're supposed to be picking in the draft. Yeah, now granted, it's the third through seventh round, but still, they're still talented individuals, and you're just not seeing it. And the replacement for all the stars that you named for the old offensive line, the Zach Zenters, he didn't look great. You didn't get a running back to replace a Nick Chubb, knowing that Nick Chubb was coming off of this injury and he wasn't going to be the same. DTR, you had him as your fifth best quarterback coming out that draft. He didn't look good. Like you just constantly miss.
Yeah. And now Jerry Jeudy really just replaced what you were getting from Amari Cooper, basically.
Yeah, so it's like you miss so much that it's finally catching up to you to where now you're in a situation to where it's like you have no choice but to hit on draft picks because you can't go out and just throw money at the situation because you blew that with the quarterback situation. So now you have to hit on draft picks, the one thing that you haven't been particularly good at if you want to rebuild this thing. And that's why fans is all like, I don't see it, like, because you just don't have a good track history, and that's and so you want to trade Myles, and everybody, you gonna get 2 1s, and it's like the last 2 first-round picks he's had is
you ain't do nothing.
Jed Wills and Greg Newsome there.
It's like,
you didn't do nothing.
Lower tier starters.
Yeah, so it's kind of like I see why the fan base is where they are with this whole situation, and I see why Myles is where you are. Like, listen, I made money. I'm gonna be fine. I got money. I got endorsements. I'm good. I want to do something that I have not done, and that's win Super. I want to play meaningful football. I'm sick of that. I'm sick of coming in here DPOY. I wanted DPOY. I got DPOY. There's nothing left for me to do. I got the 100 sacks. There's absolutely nothing left for me to do but to play in a Super Bowl. And right now with the Browns situation, there's no situation that they can stir up that makes it look like they're going to be in a Super Bowl.
You know what's funny is when you say that he wants to play in the Super Bowl, I thought about Aaron Donald. And obviously it was against my team, so that's a factor. But the first thing I think of with Aaron Donald is him making that 4th down play, sacking Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl, that won them the game.
But he had played in another one before that.
I know that. I'm just saying this is what stands out to me. Obviously, part of it's because of the Bengals. But I remember that play because he doesn't. Joe Burrow's 2 more seconds. The Bengals probably win the Super Bowl.
Chase had Jalen Ramsey burnt by 2 yards.
Don't take.
And that's it. And I'll always remember that. And
and the crazy thing is, like, you think about, just as of the past 10 years, you think about pass rushers like a Von Miller. Remember Von Miller against Cam Newton? Changed the game.
That's right.
It was nothing they could do to stop Von Miller. Aaron Donald against the Bengals changed the game. It was no answer. Myles is of the same caliber, and we've never seen him on that stage. And it's ridiculous.
And there's very few D linemen that have that kind of ability.
Right.
That's a special. There's not like 20 guys in the league. No, there's like one or two maybe.
Like I want to see Myles in the setting where, like, bro, this is literally for the championship.
Yeah.
Like I know what you do in games. I know how you change games. But like, when you know, like, the ring is on the line, like, if I have a dominant game, we're gonna win this game. Like, and there's nothing after this. This is it. I want to see how hard he actually goes.
Let me ask you guys this real quick. When you think of Aaron Donald, I think we're all going to have the same answer, and I'm making a point here.
Yeah.
When you think of, hey, what's the Aaron Donald moment? It's the Joe Burrow play, right? It's the Super Bowl. It's the fourth. If someone asked 1,000 Browns fans, what's the Myles Garrett game? What do you think the answer is?
He done had so many of them.
That's my point. But they're all regular season.
Yeah. You know, a lot of non-Browns fans would say the
helmet.
Mason Rudolph
Yeah,
thing.
but that's I'm just saying, take that. That's not count. But he's had these games where he's had 4 sacks against the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, sure.
September.
Indianapolis, where he
jumped over the field goal.
Yeah.
He's had Philadelphia this year when he blocked. Like, he's had these incredible individual.
He's had a lot of good games against the Bengals.
But because they've all come in September, October, November with not a ton of meaning behind it, there's not that one standout moment.
That's right.
That kind of solidifies his legacy. And to Tyvis's point, we were talking about this before the show, when he said, I don't want to be part of a rebuild, Myles is in the category of pass rushers, of defensive players that are on the legit Mount Rushmore of could be greatest of all time.
Yeah.
And to be on that list and to be considered alongside the Lawrence Taylors, the Reggie Whites, et cetera, you have to do it in the playoffs. And I guess whatever Andrew Berry said, this is our future plan at quarterback for the team, Myles said, I don't see it getting to it.
Well, let's be fair. There was nothing Andrew Berry could say that was going to make Myles think this team was going to be a Super Bowl contender next year.
No, that's why I said it was over. When he said that statement, it's over.
You say, here's the problem is you don't lose your ability to make things happen in that one moment. You take a series of L's over 5 years. Little L's, little L's, little L's. It didn't lead to a big L. Now, I'm going to give you this, right? If you look at all the people they brought in, I always tell people, man, when you start to hear enough people say certain things, pay attention to it. This is Zadarius Smith. It was just taking too long, man. Smith told a reporter with a laugh. It was taking too long, but obviously after they got it done, I was excited, man. Sorry for the fans that was thinking otherwise, but like I said, I'm happy to be here, happy to be with this football team and winning. Amari Cooper said
that was when he left.
When he left.
Okay. Yeah.
Amari Cooper said it was the first time in a long time I felt the joy of winning the game, and they had went to the playoffs just the year before, prior. Let's talk about this. Oh man, listen. This guy says the Browns is trying to get Myles Garrett to the Hall of Fame. He said he needed to be around somebody that believes in his ability.
That's Davian Clowney.
That's Clowney. When Odell Beckham Jr. left, he had a problem. When Jarvis Landry said, "Man, what is we doing? We can't throw the ball. What's going on with our plan?" We talking about that. Jed Wills, he's talking out of turn. He talk about it's a business decision. You got all of these people. Not to mention, we just talked about Juan Thornhill. This is a lack of institutional power and control. Every person that comes out says, "Oh, this ain't it." This is just not one person. This is people that they've signed as free agents that get here that say these exact same things. So if you ask how bad did they fumble the bag, they fumbled it greatly. They were given a team that had draft picks, a quarterback that was coming off a rookie season, which he had broke the rookie record. They had Nick Chubb at his prime. They had a top 5 offensive line. They had one of the best pass rushers in the game, a lockdown corner in Denzel Ward.
Was Odell here when?
Yes, he was here.
Yeah.
They had him. They had all of these pieces and parts. And you know what the number one thing that's been floated around and the number one theme is? Kevin Stefanski does not foster relationships with players. Name me one big name player that he did not have some sort of tiff with.
Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb don't talk. That's Nick Chubb. That's Chubb. We'll give him that. But here's the thing. Jason Lloyd just sat up here and said Baker wouldn't even return their phone calls.
Yes.
Obviously, we know what happened with Odell. Yeah. Myles Garrett multiple times says, you know what, we ain't making a play.
I got another one.
Who?
Denzel Ward.
There's a lot of players that like Kevin Stefanski. I don't know if all these tiffs are with Kevin Stefanski.
Why not?
Specifically.
What do you mean?
We Buckeyes don't throw.
When Myles Garrett says the coaches didn't make adjustment, who is he talking to?
That's fair.
I mean, if he's talking about defense, he's not talking.
He is talking
we
about
don't know
Jim
exactly
Schwartz,
what he's talking
Kevin
about.
Stefanski's the head coach.
But it falls under Stefanski, no
responsibility.
matter how you look at it.
Listen, there's clearly a case that Kevin Stefanski should be fired. There's no doubt about it.
Well, you can't jump back over the fence.
I'm not. But I've clearly gone back and forth on it because I'm not sure about it.
That's why you got to be like me.
That's all.
Yeah. But I get what you're saying. There is clearly a case that both Andrew Berry, to me, Berry more than Stefanski, but still, there's clearly a case that both should be fired.
How does that make you feel, though? Like, as an organization, we're sitting here, we're happier to have these two front office guys than all the players that left? We're excited about this.
No, I don't think anybody's excited about that.
So, what I'm saying is, you got – the sad part is we named all of the stuff we had.
Yeah.
We going into this year, and the only thing left is the GM and the coach? What? Listen, when LeBron leave, the coach got to go. When Luka, we are left with Stefanski and Barry. And you know the plan was looking.
My boy Paul DePodesta.
And we was looking, and you know what kind of plan that he had to show that man for him to write a 6-page letter? Like it was Aaliyah. Yeah. I'm writing you a 4-page.
And by the way,
letter,
I've heard a few people.
I close it with a kiss. You know how trash that gotta be?
That was smoochy. That was
good.
Smooth.
I have heard a few people say, well, Myles Garrett's just doing this because he wants more money.
No.
Which I guess is possible, but here's why I don't believe that at all. Because the only thing the Browns do well
is pay.
Under Jimmy is pay people. So if Myles Garrett said to them, you're going to make me the highest paid defensive end in the history of football by a lot, Jimmy Haslam would have said yes, in my opinion. So I don't think this is a negotiating ploy. And the fact that Andrew Berry has known that Myles wanted out and then said last week publicly he wasn't going to trade him, that probably pissed Myles off. And that's probably why. I wonder if Andrew Berry had not answered the question. Let's say when he was asked about Myles Garrett, he would have just given a non-answer like he does on most things. I wonder if Myles, if that were the case, would not have made this public. I mean, we'll never know. But maybe the reason he made it public is because he was pissed that Barry made those comments last week.
The pettiness.
Because clearly he was pissed because he used his words. That pissed him off.
Yeah. We've all been in positions where we've worked for companies or we've worked at different places, and you told a company line, you feel like you've put into the company, you feel like you've sacrificed, you feel like you've done all those things. Yeah. But then when it comes time for them to show and prove to you that you invest in me and that we are invested in winning or moving this thing forward, all of a sudden it's reservations. All of a sudden it ain't a coach plan. What happens to all them plans when I was showing up on nights and weekends?
That's right.
And every shift that you asked me to take, I took.
Yeah.
And then
is
now
this personal?
This sounds personal.
Does it sound like
it does sound personal?
I mean, I remember what happened on all them holidays.
I hear that.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe you need a couple of concessions. Yeah. Maybe something going on in your family life where you might need a little something, some understanding, bull, and they ain't had no understanding when you had put in. I'm just saying.
Maybe the pay for part-time work shouldn't be minimum wage. I don't know.
Maybe I should have to work at KFC and do that. I'm just saying.
That's it. I'm saying that's it.
That's the American dream right there.
So the question is, do I work at KFC? Do I get free food? Because I want free food if I'm working at KFC.
So when all these things happen, the emotions come out because you be like, I've been here through the thick and thin. I went through 1 and 30. Yeah. I was here, bro. And then the fact that you're gonna brush me aside, like, oh, it's gonna take 3 to 5 more years, man. Listen,
3 to 5.
Man, I'll tell you what. My grandfather told me this, and it hurt my heart because back in the day, my grandfather worked. He was a sharecropper. Then he worked in a steel mill, and he worked in them steel mills his whole life. He had some steel fall in his leg. He had to walk with a cane after that. And on his last day, you know what I'm saying, when he got done retiring, He thought that he was going to get what everybody else got, that gold watch and good work. They gave him nothing. The guy called him and said, "Hey," called him back later, said, "Hey, did you happen to turn in those boots we lent you?" And this is the point. When you are doing something and you are in a position that you put your life into this thing, right? You put your best years into the organization. And the cold reality is, in 5 minutes, they won't even remember you there. In 6 minutes, they'll forget you even worked. And in 7 minutes, they on to a whole new agenda.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, Myles Garrett has to say, do I want to be known as a winner, or do I want to go out as a person that gave all my best years to somebody that didn't put the same energy and effort and time into winning as I did?
We're going to hold it there for now. We will later in the show discuss whether the Browns owe Myles Garrett to send him to a certain team. Let me just ask you this question real quick, and we're going to have Danny Green shortly.
As soon as he hops in the queue.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this question. The Monday after the draft, will Myles Garrett be a Brown?
We'll be doing this.
What is that?
Hey, don't you give it away too quick.
They're
gonna make that a bad thing. You better stop it.
Yeah.
We ain't doing this.
Hey, I don't want those doggone those wrists.
What does that mean?
That's
Shador, every time Shador scores.
Oh, that's what he does?
That's the
watch. To show the watch.
That's the
Forget
rolling.
Shador for now. Will Myles Garrett be on the Browns the Monday after the draft?
Yes.
I think the way
if you're going to trade him, you better do it before the draft.
That's
Before
right.
the Browns are not going to do it.
Are they going to call his
Yep, they're going to try.
The only recourse he has, he can't force a trade. The only thing he can do is sit out. You think he'd do that if they don't trade him? Real quick, because
would Myles sit out?
Would he sit out?
No.
G?
I think he would.
All right, it's going to be a fascinating story until something happens. It's never going away. Go ahead, Mike. Danny Green's going to be with us now.
Yeah, we're going to get to Danny Green in 1 sec after a quick word. Then we'll get back to some Myles Garrett discussions. But if you're looking to get to a Cavs game, maybe the Cavs-Celtics game tonight, you better be using Game Time to buy your tickets online with Game Time Picks. The app does all the hard work for you, curating the best deals so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of ticket listings. Ant has the Game Time now. Ant, what's the get-in price on Game Time for the Cavs-Celtics game tonight?
You can sit at Section 217 for $42 a piece tonight.
$42 to see the two best teams in the East battle it out. That feels like a steal. And with Game Time's lowest price guarantee, if you find a better deal somewhere else, they'll refund you 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time with easy cancellation options if something comes up. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. And with that, we are thrilled to welcome in three-time NBA champ Danny Green to the show. How you doing today, Danny?
Good. How you guys doing? Doing well?
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Danny. I know we had some technical difficulties on our side last week, and we appreciate that you worked with us to get you back on. We're excited about it. And I wanted to start with the Luka trade. Obviously, we want to talk about the Cavs, but we were all stunned either Saturday night or Sunday morning when we saw the news. All fans and media, we all think the Dallas Mavericks are completely nuts. Do you agree with that, or is there some case for what the Mavericks did here?
I think we are all still stunned. I mean, it's hard to believe until you see them in uniform. I don't think that – I think the seemed rush for most people. They said it took over some time and weeks. I think it was a good trade for both teams. If Lakers are trying to rebuild and Dallas is trying to win now. But the only issue is people have is like, why didn't you get more for Luka? Even though AD is a great player and Luka's so good, it's making it seem like AD is not enough. But you would think you would get more picks, like a future, in case AD isn't fully healthy for those 2 or 3 years you have with him to maximize winning. So I think that's the reason why people are thinking it's a mistake and it didn't make sense. So a lot of it on both sides kind of didn't make sense right now. But we'll see. We still have a day or so, 2 days before the deadline. There might be some extra moves made. It might make more sense then.
Danny, let me ask you about one of your former teams, the Spurs. Obviously, they ended up getting Swiper. Now Swiper and Wemby together. How you feeling about that? And how did they manage to get more? They got 3 first-round picks as well. Man, I don't know who y'all GM
they made
is.
out in the night. No, they did well. They did very well, and I'm surprised they didn't have to give up Castle or Vassell. Like, for them to be able to get him and not give up any of the main pieces, they made out like thieves in the night. And I don't know who tweeted it, but they came up. This is a win for them. This is an unbelievable duo with Wemby and Fox, and all the pieces around them. A young core. Sacramento got 6 picks, but they didn't look as good. When you look at them, they're not as great as they look. But it looked like every team got what they wanted in that trade. But it looks like I think San Antonio was the winners of this one for sure.
Man, we gotta go back to Luka. We gotta go back to that. Like, what at what point in time does anybody trade like a guy that's 25 that's putting up them numbers, right? He's beloved in Dallas. They just went to the finals. Have you ever seen anybody get traded like that the next year? And what's the underlying move? Do you believe that this was a strictly basketball reason, or there's something else that we ain't found out about yet that we gonna get to see that might be off the court that pushed this move?
I think there's something else that we don't know about, and it's in terms of his health, his injury, his body. I think they know something that is a lingering issue that may become a bigger issue in the near future. But ultimately, I think this was a ballsy move by Nico, and good for him for making it. I think he opened up the floodgates. I think more GMs will take the risk of doing it because they're looking at a formula. And he's a great player, but he's very much a James Harden-like type of player. And James is very good too, but he hasn't shown that style of play has been able to win you a championship successfully. So if they're looking at it and saying, oh, this might not be the formula to win us a championship, we might need to change directions. And Nico's like, we're not going to be here that long, so we need to win now. So regardless, I'm going to make the move to where it puts us in better position. So shout out to him for having the balls to do so. I think there's more behind the scenes that we know that'll come to light. But ultimately, I think they thought we can't win with this type of formula of basketball, and we need to kind of reroute this and change it and try to get as much as we can for it in return to win now.
Danny, wanted to switch gears to the Cavs here. Obviously, Cavaliers are having a magnificent season so far. Evan Mobley's development this year has been fantastic. Could you talk about him and how high you think his ceiling is down the line?
I mean, it was like either he can be AD or somebody else. So Anthony Davis is something he can be very much like. He has the skills, he has the potential. His growth has been great. He's been bringing the ball up, showing the point guard skills, doing a little bit of everything off the bounce. So, his ceiling is, Anthony Davis. If not, he could be better if he wanted to, because he's a great defensive player. He could be defensive player of the year. I think candidate a couple years. He could probably win it a couple years. And offensively, he's stretching it to the 3. He stays pretty. If he can stay healthy, he can be in that conversation as a top 75 player in this league in history.
Wow. Danny, I know that the Cavs ended up finishing with 3 All-Stars. Do you think Jarrett should have gotten into the All-Star game as the 4th?
It's tough for me to do that. Internally, me being a former Cavalier and being biased, I wanted 4 guys. But it's tough to get 4 guys from one team in the All-Star game. Golden State did it some years ago, and I thought it was still unreal. He was definitely deserving of it. But a lot of people make cases that they have, one superstar in that group. For them to get 3 is more than fair, more than enough. They've been winning, and they definitely rewarded them for winning by giving them 3. 4 would have been tough. But I think Jarrett, on any other team, if they were winning, he would have been deserving of an All-Star.
Danny, I'm curious, speaking of the All-Star game, I'm an old guy, and when I was a kid in the 80s, the All-Star game, the NBA All-Star game was the best of any sport.
Yes.
By far. And now, as a fan, I think it stinks. Now, I don't know how you feel as a player, a former player, but I heard Wemby just said, hey, I'm going to the All-Star game for business, not to make friends. I think it's only the players that can make the game better. I don't think there's any rules they can make. What do you think about the whole situation?
I agree with you. And even as a former player, it does stink. And the game's not, I don't care how many formats you come to the table. Yeah. It's not going to matter and change the viewership unless guys come to play. So if guys aren't ready to play, it's not gonna be something people want to see. And if he's coming as a business trip, hopefully it's not a business as off the court brand type of trip. But if he comes in and tries to play, great. He can be the guy that turns it around. But ultimately, yeah, the All-Star game is not what it used to be. And I understand, guys are going, they want to be rested just like everybody else. They get a week now. Before it was a weekend. Now you get a week, so you get some time to rest. But guys want to take care of their bodies and not get hurt. But ultimately, it seems as if, the less practice and the less playing is causing, I'm going to say, more injuries. It just seems like there's more injuries happening than it was in the past, because guys actually practiced more then and played, harder and more games. And it seemed like there were less in, today's game, there's so many injuries in the last 5 years that, if I wanted to continue my career, I have a really good shot at getting on a team at this point, because I know there's going to be injuries throughout the whole year.
Yeah. Danny, looking at the Cavs right now, obviously best record in the league. We've been debating back and forth on this show a lot in terms of, do they need another person? Do they need another bigger wing? Do they need another? Cam Johnson is a guy that people have been talking about. As constituted, if you're looking at the roster, you're looking at the Celtics. Do the Cavs need to make a move in order to kind of put them in a better position to beat the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals if they get there?
They could. I don't think they need to. Ultimately, Boston's been very up and down, and they haven't been the healthiest either. So I think Cleveland has a really good shot of being the team that upsets them. It's them and New York, possibly the only two teams that can challenge them in the East. I think Cleveland has the pieces. Yes, it'd be great to add some depth, like another backup big to help, Jared and Evan take off the rebounding and defensive responsibilities. It'd be great to have another 3-and-D guy. Cam Johnson is perfect. I love him. Carolina guy. So he would be great for stretching the floor and playing defense. The only pieces that make sense to move and that has been playing well for them is Strus. Him and Strus are similar, just that he's probably a better defender. In my eyes, I don't know for sure in particular in comes to statistics or breakdown. But if I had to, like I said, put some packages together, I would try to keep everybody. And the only person that really sits that close to his contract would be Strus, and maybe some smaller pieces, and maybe a couple picks. But I don't think they need to make a move. They have really good chemistry and they're playing well. They just have to get back fully healthy, because they had Karras out for a little bit. They had, Darius out for a little bit. They had a couple people with some random injuries. If they get everybody back healthy, they should be fine.
Danny, the Cavs decided to run back essentially their same roster. Obviously, they made a coaching change, and I think you were here in 23 with JB. When you look at what JB's philosophy was versus what Kenny's doing, what's the biggest difference? Because essentially, the offense has taken off to a whole nother level.
For sure. I mean, I can't give you Kenny's philosophies. I just know he's doing a great job. I never got a chance to play for Kenny. I just think JB was great for rebuilding years and, hasn't had a lot of playoff experience. I just think Kenny, has been in those type of – obviously he was a Golden State. He was with a lot of different teams. So I think and we won't know until you get to the playoffs. So we'll see his adjustments and how they, pull it together during that time. I just think that JB hadn't been ready for play. I was there for the first year of the playoffs. We definitely weren't ready, to play the Knicks. The following year they did better. They beat Orlando. I couldn't tell you the ins and outs, but it looks like Kenny's doing a great job, and we'll see. So the biggest question for the Cavs is, are they winning? Like, they always have great regular seasons. Are they ready and willing enough to do what it takes to win in the playoffs? Are they ready? Are they playoff ready? And only the play out can tell us that, and we'll see what they do this postseason and what Kenny can do.
I'm sure we'll ask you whether or not you believe the Cavs can actually win the title in a sec, but I got to ask you something more related to the trade deadline real quick, Danny. I'm on your Pro Basketball Reference page, and I believe you were traded 6 times in your career. I'm not 100 if I'm counting right. I believe it was 6.
I think that's right.
For the guys not only on the Cavs but around the league right now who, with the deadline being on Thursday or potentially being floated in rumors, how kind of difficult is it to be a guy on, let's just use a George Niang, for example, or you mentioned Strus, we could use Strus. On a championship caliber team, you have the best record in basketball, but your name's getting floated in rumors. How do you kind of put that to the side and focus on what's right ahead of you, which is a game against the Celtics, without letting that distract you from your ultimate goal?
I mean, I think today's kids are used to it at this point. Back then, it was like, we didn't have the information, so Twitter and Instagram is way bigger now where you can see pieces and names moving. And once you're in the trade rumors 1 year or 2 years, you kind of just get used to it. These guys are old enough to know what it's like, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. There's nothing you can do to control it. So just go out and hoop. Control what you can control. If you play your best basketball, it'll probably keep you safer to where you are. But it's different things for different guys. You never know. Some guys have different tactics. The only advice I could give you is, worry about the things you control and just go out and hoop. Trades, you can't control that. So hopefully these guys are veterans enough to not let those things hinder their play.
All right, Danny, I got this thing. Every basketball dude that come on here, I'm going to ask him this question. This is something new I'm doing in my own right. Now, I know good and well there's people who always don't understand how good basketball players are as professionals. They think they think, oh, I played in high school. I'm like, no, bro. Like, they're not going to miss at the Y. Like, so I'm going to just give a little context here. So to prove how good these guys are, give me one of the best players that you've played against that would be a mid-name or a name that the fans don't think is really good, right? Like somebody the fans are like
Brian Scalabrine type?
Yeah, like Scalabrine. Scalabrine is giving you buckets, bro. Like he's gonna
and he kills regular people.
Give me one name that you're like, listen, you think he was a scrub? He will murder you. He will destroy you.
There's so many, but I'm gonna give people a Cleveland Cavalier that they look at and probably is like, oh, people think they could probably dog him in a one-on-one or pickup game. George Niang, he's
facts
really good. They look at him like, oh, he's out of shape. I'm like, no, he's in good enough. He's in great shape. He's moving his body. He's able to keep up, to get up and down that floor. It's a physical game, and you look at him like, oh, I could probably do what he does. No, you can't, and he will dog any one of you. From
that is a perfect example.
There's a bunch of Cavaliers. Sam Merrill on the bench. Like, there's a lot of guys on that bench that people look at like, oh, I could play a spot. No, you can't. They will dog you.
So you said Tristan Thompson can give us buckets. Tristan Thompson is still
Tristan Thompson will give you buckets.
I don't know, Danny. I'm 5'7", 340. I think I could back down Sam Merrill. No,
you won't get the ball.
Danny, by the way, how do we let a Long Island kid like you not go to St. John's? How did we not get you at St. John's, by the way?
It was in my top 5, but Carolina came in the picture and it was a wrap.
It was a wrap.
I was always a Carolina. I was a Carolina kid. I was a fan of them since, Mike, Vince Carter, Jerry Stackhouse, Rasheed Wallace, those guys. I watched them play. So,
all right,
they were close to home, but once Carolina
Johnny's looking good right now, though. They're looking good. Hey, I'm curious.
They're looking better than my Carolina team right now.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. I'm curious, Danny. Recently, you were doing a podcast and you said something that I was surprised to hear a former player say, where you were talking about the Wizards specifically, and you talked about how, you didn't think the guys were playing hard, and almost like they should have salary taken away from them because they're not being professional and not playing hard. Can you elaborate on that a little more?
It was more so finding, because I think it's an all-around thing, and if you watch the pod more, I was with FanDuel. Run it back. And it was more so I think it starts from the top. And, teams are tanking on purpose. They're trying to get Cooper Flag. And it's tough for fans to watch. It's tough for anybody to watch and to show up. It's tough for guys to play. I think not only it was more so finding, front offices or finding organizations.
Right.
And then making that trickle down to the players if necessary. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, if you're a player, you got to have some pride too, right? So if you find front offices, that ain't touching the players. They don't care. But if you find front offices and coaches and players all the way around, then they're like, all right, everybody gets in line. Everybody's willing to, turn it around and actually play hard. I think they won 2 in a row, which is good to see. But they're showing you they're capable of actually being it's a difference between losing games and just getting blown out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They've been getting blown out. And if you're fighting any professional team, you can be within 10 points, of most of those games that you're losing.
Danny, let me ask you about the Cavs again. Obviously, we're high on them here. We all feel like they can win the title. My question is, do you feel if they can win the title this year? And when you've watched them in the past in the postseason, when they had their struggles, what was it that they need to fix in order for them to be able to win the title this year?
Anything is possible. I've seen stranger things happen, but in my mind, I don't think they're title ready just yet. I think they can win the East. I think they can surprise some people, but it always takes a year of getting dogged or losing or taking a tough one in the playoffs, deeper in the playoffs, to get to be ready for that. And I think OKC, Minnesota has lost in the Western Conference Finals. You have to go somewhat deep in the playoffs and take a loss for you to know what it takes to be on that stage. So yes, I think they could surprise you by getting to the finals. But whatever team's coming out of that West, I think those lights will be kind of bright for them, and they're not mature or ready yet to win one. But I've seen stranger things happen. They could easily win one. It's all within the It's not just about playing great basketball. It's all about staying healthy and having the basketball guys on your side. And they could be the healthiest team in the playoffs and ultimately win. But I just think they need one more year. And keeping the same group together was huge. It was key. Because now you got that chemistry. One more year, I think they'll definitely be in title contention. And even if they don't add pieces, I think they're going to be one of those teams that is going to be mentally and physically and emotionally ready to be on that stage.
Make sure you guys check out Danny on ESPN. It's a great job on
awesome.
Their NBA shows doing this. Danny,
Thank
appreciate you coming
and
on.
Inside the Green Room. Inside the Green Room with Danny Green, my guy Harrison Sanford.
Oh, sorry. Whatever you got to promote, Danny, put it out before we get to the last question.
Go ahead, man. I already told Inside the Green Room with Harrison Sanford, with Danny Green, my co-host Harrison Sanford, so that's where you can catch me as well. But shoot the question, man. I'm interested to hear what you have to ask.
Listen, this is a humbling experience because typically I take pride in being the best three-point shooter on UCSS any given day.
He played Division III basketball, Danny. He thinks he's a superstar.
I scored 23 last night, 6 and 9 from 3. But not only, Danny, not only am I not the best shooter on the show today, I wore number 14. I was always the best shooter who wore number 14 because no one wears 14. You wore 14 at every stop in your NBA career. How did you end up on number 14? It's not the common 23 single digits. How'd you end up with 14?
It's a great question. It's an interesting one. It has an interesting story behind it. It doesn't matter what level you play, fellas, by the way. If you're a shooter, you're a shooter. So he can shoot regardless if you 3 or not. I'm going to give you some flowers. But for me, 14 was a town number. So I grew up playing football and basketball. Those were my main sports. I was very much a heavy football player. I was a quarterback, and I loved it. My dad kind of said, the career over here might last you longer, a little bit better on the body and the mind. It might be a little easier. I'm glad I chose basketball. It worked out for me. But I really loved football. But, the best player and the leader of the team usually wore 14. It was a football town. And the varsity head coach, his brother, wore it and had passed. And he honored his brother by giving that number to the captain and the best player. And that trickled all the way down through, youth leagues. So 14 was a town number. It always not reminded me, but it always, for me, kept me at home, grounded, and always let my people from back home know that I'll never forget where I came from, and that I'm trying to represent the town as best as I can.
That's an awesome.
That's awesome story, Danny. Thanks for joining us, man.
That's great.
Anytime.
Yeah,
appreciate you guys having me, man.
Thank you.
Enjoy the deadline. Enjoy the talks, man. There's more trades to come. So.
That is Danny Green, 3-time champ. Dan, appreciate it. And make sure you check him out on all his shows, including ESPN. And former Cav. Always appreciate that.
Started with the Cavs, and did he end with the Cavs, or did he play one more season for somebody else? I can't remember.
I feel like he played one.
His first season?
He went to Philadelphia. And
right.
Played 2 games, so basically that was the end.
Basically started and ended with the Cavs.
Yeah.
But his best years obviously were in San Antonio, where he won championships.
And then Toronto. He won
and Toronto,
Kawhi,
too.
Yeah.
You're right. Yes.
I think he's rich, right?
Yeah,
do you want Danny Green's career earnings?
Yeah, let me see what he's
I'm sure he did well for himself.
We was talking about fumbling the bag. We just want to see. We pocket watching now.
Yeah, that's true.
According to SpoTrack.
Okay.
Danny had a long career.
Okay.
Yeah, Danny did very well for himself.
50 million.
No, more than that.
No, more than that.
Yeah.
NBA,
man.
He got a point there. Is it north of 175?
No.
Okay.
But it is 9 figures.
I'll say 122.
Lower.
110.
103.
G. Bush on the money.
103. Look at that.
$100 million man.
Dang, bro.
And could it be a nicer guy? Seriously, because
he was awesome.
We messed up last Thursday.
Yeah.
The issue was completely on our side.
Yeah.
And most times, if you have a guest of that caliber,
they'll be like, screw these guys, they're clowns.
Yeah, and he came back, couldn't have been nicer. And
he was awesome.
I didn't know the 14 story with Danny.
Yeah, it was a good story. Good job asking that.
And great answer. So we appreciate that from Danny.
Yeah.
We'll get back to the Cavs. We'll preview the Celtics game a little bit later in the show. But if you want some more Cavs content, Jason and I did an Ultimate Cavalier show this morning. We went live at 8 a.m.
Took a shot at me on the show.
Well, you took a shot at us.
You took a shot at him?
You took a shot at your boo?
Oh, no.
You do, boo?
You spelled Nico.
I took a shot at Nico Harris,
He spelled
or whatever
Nico
his name
Harris's name wrong. So then
I spelled his name wrong, but what I said was correct.
What you said was correct, and Danny agreed with you. So you got an NBA guy agreeing on you. So check that out. It's on our YouTube page. We got a couple clips coming out, but we previewed the trade deadline, did some NBA trade value rankings for the Cavs and some other stuff. So make sure you guys
I watched their whole
check
show.
that out page. We appreciate it. No,
I said nice show. They didn't even respond.
Oh, you was in the chat.
Oh,
I texted you after.
Well, yeah, but
I said thank you.
I texted them after. I said nice show.
You watched their show and you was in the chat.
I was, yeah.
Bull pulled the wife thing.
Bull was funny.
I saw you saw my email. I saw you saw my text.
Bull, what was we doing the one time where somebody said something to you in the chat and you went back at them and it was an Ohio State thing because I was doing a post game show and I don't remember what it was, but somebody said something to you and you went back at them and I could not stop laughing.
I think I remember.
I did it on Monday.
You was there.
I was there.
You was in there.
Bull was just in the chat.
Just
in the chat. I'm like, dang, bro. You're like, man, I was there. I remember.
Last Monday, there was some guy in the chat because you guys were talking about my shoes.
Yeah.
And there was some guy in the chat going, "Oh, I'm glad Bull's not on today. The show's better without him." And I was like, "You're a effing
No, Bull is a big supporter of all the UCSS spinoffs. Listen,
I watch.
We love Bull. Seriously, we love Bull.
Tyvis watches a lot too.
Oh, I definitely check a lot of people's stuff out.
I watch every show. I'm in the comment section on the
because listen,
I'm in the comment section on the reruns.
You get the
I'll be in there reading comments.
She's in the comments during the live show.
I'm about to say she be in the comments.
I'm like, that's cap. Stop lying.
Yeah.
I'll be because you get the notification and I'll be sitting there like, oh, somebody going live. Let me see what it is. So that's how I'll be.
All right, guys. So our next topic, we're gonna get back to the Myles Garrett trade request, and before we talk about whether or not the Browns owe it to Myles to send him to a Super Bowl contender or not, I do want to mention some of the financial ramifications of the Myles Garrett trade, just so when we talk about these fake trade proposals and everything we talk about regarding the Myles Garrett request in the next coming days, we have at least this baseline. I am not going to lie and say I'm a salary cap expert. I only know what I read and what I trust from people just like Jason from the Over the Cap website.
Does anybody know his last name? I reference him all the time. I don't know what his last name is.
But he's widely regarded as good as it gets in terms of the cap. And he tweeted this out. And I just want to mention this because it plays a role in all of this.
Yeah.
Jason from Over the Cap said, just to run a quick scenario, but prior to adjustments, the Browns would need to restructure Watson and Denzel Ward to the fullest and cut Jack Conklin to trade Myles Garrett. Doing all of that would leave them with likely between $2 million and $7 million in cap space, depending on where the cap lands. This would leave them in a Saints-like situation. Really, outside of those three moves, there is little they can do besides extending Newsome and then June 1sting some players so they can sign rookies. Doing the math on this, the better option is probably extending Garrett and coming up with a dollar figure that would make him happy to be part of a rebuild next season.
Yeah, but if he may not be willing to do that. Now, they can't force him. Obviously they can't force him to, or he can't force them to trade him, but they also can't force him to sign an extension. And, who knows what he's going to do, whether he'll hold out or not if it gets that. But trading him will not be easy, as Jason says. We have said for years, as long as the owner's willing to keep spending money, the cap doesn't matter. In this case, it does.
Very much so.
In this case, it does. They've extended so many guys already. When you keep failing with your moves, eventually it's going to catch up with you. And if they feel like at some point here that they have to trade Myles Garrett, they may not feel that way now.
Do you think it's fair that let me ask you, because we all be talking like fire these people. Do you think it's fair to fire them and put the next guy and have to deal with this?
It would have been easier to do that. Like you could sell.
But it ain't. But think about it. They say, G. Bush, we hiring you. What are you going to do?
Well, but that person's going to get at least a little bit of a pass initially.
Because a new person can always come in and say, listen, Myles, look, those guys didn't do you no favors. They made a mistake here, 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 and here. I want to hear what your input is on where this team needs to go. Like, this is the problem. The Browns be so G14 classified with their mom on stuff, they've gotten to the point where,
what move can you make?
There's nothing they can do
this year that's gonna make him. That's gonna put you in close to the Super Bowl.
So here's what you do.
Please, GM Bush.
So here's what you do. You go to Myles Garrett and you say, listen, what you want to do? You want a quarterback?
He said, I don't want to be here no more.
No, you done.
Yeah.
You can't let a player.
Whoa! That's what got you here to start with, boy.
Wait a minute. He just said, let's say he come to you and he say, Garrett, there is nothing you can tell me that makes me want to stay here.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say. Well, help me help you.
Okay.
Where's the list of places you want to go?
Okay.
Huh?
Okay.
And what I want you to do is I want you
that should be. I'm sure that'll be coming out soon.
So what I want you to do
his
is
preferred destination.
Oh, I don't care. I'm trading him wherever I can get the best deal.
Here's what we're gonna do, and then we're gonna say that.
Yeah.
If you want to be out here, help me help you. I give you and your agent fair warning and free reign to negotiate the best deal.
Okay.
If you can get us 3 number 1 draft picks.
Oh man!
All right. Well, speaking of which, Mike, set this up now so we can get.
Yeah. So now we have the financial ramifications all set. It's difficult.
See?
Yeah.
The question I want to ask you guys is:
Yeah.
Do the Browns owe it to Myles, who said in his trade request letter yesterday, "I want to compete for a Super Bowl"? So do the Browns owe it to Myles to send him to a Super Bowl contender? Or do they just go make the best deal possible for the franchise?
Do you know what league?
First of all,
do you know what league this is?
I just was talking about.
Do you know what league it is? What are you talking about?
They own nothing.
What are you talking? No, they're not. No, they don't. And they're not going to.
There's a couple of places
because they be petty. Like, why would we take why would we trade you to the Kansas City Chiefs and they pick it 31st or 32nd? Like, that's going to do
the really bad teams are not making this kind of trade either. It's a mid team.
Yeah, like what are you talking about?
Yeah.
No, I'm not trading you to Cincy.
There are, I guess, 5 or 6. There's a couple of rules here. First of all, you're not getting traded in the division.
No.
So that eliminates the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Steelers.
It's a lot of Super Bowl contenders you just kicked out.
Why? We're not trading you to the Chiefs.
It's only 5. Okay, so it's only
That's 4. You're not doing it.
It's only what, 7 make the playoffs? What about the Bills?
We may think about trading you to the Bills.
Okay.
Because the Bills, they've lost so much that their heart is hurt right now.
Okay.
They'll be willing to give up something to get to the
What are you willing to get back from them?
That's a late.
I want ones.
I have a Bills trade proposal coming in the next topic.
They're not. I don't think they're trading him in the. I think if he gets traded to the NFC.
Hey, my landing point, as I said yesterday, is the Dallas Cowboys.
I just don't know if Dallas would be. Jerry is low key cheap.
Well, Jerry is low key old.
He is low key.
Do you want to see another?
That's low key.
Do you want to see another ring, or you want to just sit up here?
They didn't get a running back.
Is DeMarcus Lawrence off the books now?
I don't know.
I can look that up.
It ain't like he can take it with him, Bull. And by the way, if the Philadelphia Eagles win, you could tell him, Jerry, the Eagles won in the division.
I do think the Cowboys are a possibility. I think the Packers are a possibility. I think the Rams are a possibility. The Rams may look at the Rams are an aggressive team.
I got the Rams in the trade proposals too.
And I think ideally you want to trade him to
part of that trade
to a team that's good but not really could still be a mid-tier.
Would you trade Myles Garrett to the Rams for Cooper Kupp in a 1?
No. But listen, we'll get to the trade proposals in a sec. The point
Cooper Kupp's old.
You gonna give me Puka?
Do they owe them?
You Puka?
Nakua.
Are you crazy?
Nakua.
They ain't giving you Puka.
So we all agree.
Puka in a 1, I'd do it.
Yeah.
We all agree. They don't owe Myles anything in terms of.
They don't owe Myles Garrett.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
I hate to tell everybody it's a cold world in the
They're not
NFL.
trading him to another terrible team because another terrible team's not giving up first round
Right.
picks.
There's only about 10. It's only about 5 or 6 teams that is even legitimately that have the cap space, that have the assets, and that are good.
It's a cold world.
Good enough where they think Myles Garrett could be the difference.
Myles is going to go to the Las Vegas Raiders.
No, then why would they do that?
Because Pete Carroll loves a good pass.
Well, you know what? Do it. I'd trade him to the Raiders. That'd be the best team to trade.
And the Raiders look like they give up picks a lot. I feel like
they've been trying. Well, they got Max and Myles.
Max Crosby and Myles.
Yeah.
And they got Christian Wilkins.
And guess what?
And they drafted Tyree Wilson first round last year.
And we trying to fleece them for the number 2 pick. Go ahead and get your door. We want all your picks. We want the Myles Garrett picks and them Shador picks. We're going to trade for you.
No, I want, what's his name?
Who you want?
The tight end.
Oh, you can't.
We're not getting him.
Dang, boy. That's a mad trade. I'm disappointed.
You know Kevin would be all over that. I would give you Njoku and the 2.
I mean, Brock Bowers, I'd take him over any tight end in the league right now if I'm starting a team. I'd take him over any tight end.
So you going to take him in the first round of fantasy next year?
Probably not.
No, not first
Probably
round.
not.
Because
Probably
tight ends don't put up crazy numbers.
He
But-
does. He do.
He did.
He probably will.
He was averaging
He's
a
gonna
dub a
Well,
week.
they got to have a quarterback first. But look at the numbers he put up with no quarterback.
Who was their quarterback this year?
It was
Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew.
Gardner Minshew. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're not. They're not going to trade him.
No.
They don't owe him.
This
they don't-
what I would do. I would trade I say, Myles, I trade you to one of them teams. I trade you to the AFC. You get them to take Deshaun with you.
No team.
You get them
Then
to
you get
take
nothing in return.
Deshaun with you.
Then you get
Then you get no picks.
Yeah.
Then you get no picks.
Myles Garrett and Deshaun Watson for a 7th round pick.
Then you get no picks. But no,
That would be the funniest graphic in the history
Oh
of
my
America.
God.
do you know how much that's a death sentence?
Take Deshaun.
But here's
We
the
need him
thing.
off the books.
I'm telling him, and I'm honestly telling him, listen,
Yeah.
he's with Clutch Sports. Tell Rich Paul, listen, go out, find the best deal you can. I'm giving you opportunity to shop a trade like it's basketball.
Get us LeBron back.
And we want the most possible back. We're going to start this conversation with 3 ones. We are willing to capitulate and go down to a 1 and 2 ones and a 2.
I don't
And
think
then,
they're getting that.
but here's the thing. What I need is, if he won out bad enough, he's going to work for me.
Let me ask
He's
you
going to
this.
work to get that deal.
Let me ask you this.
You're gonna work.
What if he come back and say, I couldn't get you 2 1s and a 2, but I could get you 1 and 2 2s? You taking it?
So
1 and 2 2s.
here's the
1
thing.
and 2 twos is
You guys mentioned.
So the 1 and 2 this year and the second next year.
Mike,
That's
did you
nice.
mention not Von Miller, the
Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack trade?
He got 3
Yesterday, yeah, we
ones,
talked
didn't he?
about it.
Okay.
And we have one of the trade proposals from Cleve TA was based off
Yeah.
that. When
Now
we get
Khalil
to
Mack,
that.
like Myles Garrett's better than Khalil Mack, but Myles
Mack
Garrett's
was
2
2
years
years
older.
younger.
But I think Myles Garrett. Well, not I think.
I
Myles
think he gets
Garrett's
a little
definitely
more.
a way better player than
Boy,
Khalil
you taking
Mack,
that
so.
1 and 2 2s? First and second
Depends
this
on the
year.
team.
First and second this year and a second next year.
I'd rather have.
Let's say it's. Let me just throw.
No, I am not trading Myles Garrett unless I get a 2026 first round pick.
Yeah, I think that's the most important.
I want
factor.
that.
So you don't want the.
100%.
So you want the one next year, not
No,
this year.
I want 2 1s.
Okay.
I don't know
I
if they want 2 1s.
I don't think they're gonna give them 2
I'm not
ones.
getting. No way I'm getting a third. I want 2 1s and then some mid tier picks.
The way people get traded out, I just don't see people giving up that.
I
like
would
that
if
no
you
more.
gave me a 1, 2 twos, and a 3. I'm
What
good.
Because it was
I'm good.
Did Brian Burns go for 2 1s?
No, he didn't go for it. He got just
he was
second.
free
He
agent.
just signed.
Yeah.
I thought. They was trying. The Rams was trying to trade like 2
The
1s
trade,
and 3
the
1s.
Rams had offered a first and something for Burns. They didn't trade him at the time, and then he ended up getting traded to the Giants for a 2024 second round pick, a 2025 5th round pick.
You kidding me?
Yeah, that's it, a second and a 5th.
So
But then the Giants had to sign him to that big contract after.
Myles Garrett is. There's no comp recent since Khalil Mack at
Khalil Mack's
even
the
them.
closest, and it's not even a perfect comp.
Right.
and
And they got 2 1s and a 3, but they gave up a 2, and there were some late. picks
Correct.
involved.
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If they do move Myles Garrett for whatever compensation,
Yeah.
what do you think that does to the possibility or the likelihood of them trading this year's number 2 pick? Is it higher or lower or the same?
Would depend on what they get.
Yeah, it depends on the return.
Because I look at it this way: if you're gonna trade Myles Garrett,
You're in a rebuild.
You're in a rebuild. You
So
might as well go trade that number
yeah.
2 pick.
I think they're-
I trade number. Yeah, the second pick. Go ahead.
I think they're less likely, and here's why. Because they either like one of these quarterbacks and they're going to take them, so then you'd stay at 2.
Yeah.
Or they might be thinking, well, we're going to take a quarterback next year, so
Abdul Carter.
I guess
Travis
I guess
Hunter.
your thought is, well, if we're going to take a quarterback next year, we might as well get as much ammunition as possible. However, what if we can already get an elite young wide receiver, Travis Hunter? Remember the Bengals drafted T. Higgins. Mm-hmm. Well, that was the same year as Joe Burrow, but
Yeah, they
and
drafted
then they went with Chase the next year. So let's say in theory they draft Travis Hunter. All of a sudden you draft a rookie quarterback in 2026, and your 2 wide receivers are Travis Hunter, Jerry Jeudy. that could potentially be really good.
And you get some picks. Or
Who's
because if they
quarterbacking in this year?
But hold on.
Who cares? I don't care, honestly.
I
What you mean? Do you know how miserable we gonna be this fall?
I know.
Hey,
We
listen,
gotta come in here in the fall.
I will take.
Yeah.
I will take. They got to take a quarterback regardless. They're gonna have to take one.
Jackson Dart.
Third round. They might
You
have
know
to
what?
They might have to get one in the second round.
Give me Milrow. At least it'd be fun to watch him
Take
run around.
Milrow, bring in Andy
it'd
Dalton
be fun
to
to
work
run
with him.
around. At least it'd be exciting to
There
see
you
somebody
go.
scramble.
Oh, you got some
Wildcat.
trade proposals.
We got some trade proposals after a quick word from FanDuel. Super Bowl 59, one game, two teams, endless possibilities, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether you're predicting the first touchdown, who will take home the MVP trophy, or the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to place your bets and feel the thrill of every moment. With live betting all game long, you can jump into the action, adjust your bets, and ride the wave of excitement from kickoff to the final whistle. Plus, to make the Super Bowl even sweeter, new customers can score $200 when they make your first bet. Just place a $5 bet, and if you win, you get $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com/UCSS and bet with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 59.
You know, if it happens, Becker's going to be so annoying, but I'm kind of rooting for the Eagles because I just hate the Chiefs now.
Why do you hate the Chiefs?
I'm sick of them.
Let's get to these trades, though,
Hey, let's-
because we got some other stuff I want to get to tonight.
Let's get to these trades.
So there's 5 of them.
Yeah.
I came up with one.
Yeah.
I took 4 from people around Twitter, some people we know, some
Just
people
random
we don't
dudes.
know. That got at least some traction.
Oh,
with the
okay.
thought of, okay,
But are they media members or random dudes?
Cleve TA is the first one, so
Yeah.
some media,
Cleve TA is, even though he's not in the media, but I consider
one's
him in
from
that
Chris
category.
Thomason of
Do you
CBS.
consider
I
me
think
in the
one's from a
media?
fan.
Of course.
But basically, I wanted to take all the different scopes of ideas to show
Yeah.
you how no one really knows what the actual value is going to be. And some of
Okay.
these feel more realistic, some of these feel super unrealistic. The first one comes from Cleve TA, who based his trade proposal off the Khalil Mack deal from a few years ago. And in a similar instance, Cleve TA proposed Myles going to the Cardinals along with a third-round pick
I like Trey
and
Benson,
a
too.
2025 sixth-round pick for their first this year, which is number 16, their second this year, which is number 47, and their first-round pick in 26, plus
Sold.
Trey Benson, the running back.
Now, the only difference between this and the Khalil Mack trade was, in that case, the Cardinals or the team that traded Khalil Mack was
The Bears.
The Bears. No, the Bears got Khalil
Well, the
Mack.
Raiders.
The Raiders got the second-round pick, and the Bears got the third. So that's a flip-flopped. That's because Myles Garrett's better.
And he said, based off that, this is what I think.
Right. And then Trey Benson instead of, I think, a fifth-round pick or whatever it was. That's
like-
a great trade.
I like that.
I like Trey Benson. He didn't play much.
I
last
Yeah,
like
they
year.
that.
said he didn't do well.
That
I
I'm
like
in for
that.
that. I think that's
take-
realistic. I don't think that's crazy.
So
I
you
take
We're in on
ain't
that.
you ain't got to even convince me on that one.
I take
Yeah,
that one.
I think
And
they might not be able to get that second. I think maybe you'd have to
And
take that out. but-
Listen, and if they want that, forget it. We're gonna do it like Madden. Oh, the bar ain't green enough. Bar ain't green enough. Hold on. I'm gonna take that 6 and put a 4 in there.
Yeah.
You want that 4th? Deal.
Let's go.
All right, so that was from Cleve TA. This next
Yeah.
one's from Chris Trapasso, who works for CBS Sports.
yeah.
He proposed a trade with the Bills, who, according to the 33rd team, are the betting favorite to land Myles Garrett. Take that however you want to take it. But he proposed Gregory Rousseau, their young pass rusher who's due for a new contract, this year's first and next year's first for Myles Garrett.
How good is Gregory Rousseau?
His stats this season, and part of his explanation was
Yeah.
he thinks Rousseau can get $20-ish million a year. Not a bad player by any means, but he would rather give up the picks and get Myles Garrett and the bona fide production of Myles Garrett over Rousseau, who had 8 sacks this season to lead the team, and he is 24 years old.
Yeah, I mean, at least a solid pass rusher and 2 first-rounders. Now, the problem with that is, you know, the
Those are
Bills
end
are
of the
the
first.
Bills are that's going to be a bottom 4 pick this year and going to be probably a bottom 4 pick next year.
They gonna have. I
You
like
have to
it.
take that, package it up, and then move up.
I'd rather not trade him to the Bills.
Yeah.
I really don't want to trade him in the AFC unless it's like the Raiders or something like
If
that.
they want, if the Bills want, I'm going to use all the leverage in the world. Listen, Josh Allen is. You see his face in these press conferences when you keep losing to Mahomes.
Yep.
The only way you're going to get that sold
Yeah.
is if you get Myles Garrett. Give me some more.
By the way, another part of the TA trade that I like
They be scarred by
is that the Cardinals are, to me, a perfect scenario, realistically, is a mid team in the NFC.
Yes.
Because a bad team is not going to make that trade probably, but the Cardinals are a mid team in the NFC.
Yeah.
So that first round pick next year is, could be a decent pick.
Yeah, it's a mid team.
Yeah.
I like it's realistic because the Browns do put something with it. They get the 3rd and that 6th round pick.
Yeah.
This is by far the best for me.
Yeah.
If the Bills wanted to come to the table and was serious, they're gonna have to give me another pick.
Yeah. I do.
Because I got it.
Rousseau's a good player.
I mean, it's 2 firsts and a good player.
But I got to deal with this man.
Yeah.
But didn't he? That's true. Didn't he? That Greg Rousseau, didn't he go first round?
Rousseau was a first-round pick. He was the 30th pick in 21.
See, but my thing about the Bills is they a little scarred because the reason that they had to cut their whole defense is because they traded for Von Miller and paid him that money.
Yeah.
And they probably like, you a little hesitant the next time.
They might not do it. All right, go ahead.
Next one comes from Tyler Johnson. He covers the Browns for a website. He also does a Ohio State podcast. You've probably seen his stuff. Yeah. He proposed a trade with the Vikings. Myles for J.J. McCarthy, Jordan Addison, and their first-round pick this year.
Vikings are not making that trade.
Did you see?
I would take that trade.
Did you see how Sam Darnold played in the playoffs?
They're not trading McCarthy.
Addison. Hold on. It was delayed shot.
Once again, I put all these in there to show you the wide range of what people think you would be able to get from Myles Garrett.
If Minnesota willing to do that, I would take.
Yeah, but you know Minnesota wouldn't do that.
No, they're not. Yeah. But I would take that trade though.
Yeah, of course we do it. But
I mean,
wait a minute. What was the first at this year?
This year, the 24th overall pick, plus Addison, who is a very good, promising young receiver, and McCarthy, who could be good, could be terrible.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know about McCarthy, but the Vikings.
If I made that trade, I'd take Abdul Carter at 2, and we gonna roll 24. I take a tackle, and let's roll.
Man, come on, they ain't doing that.
You could go G. Bush Operation Stockpile, have Jordan Addison, Travis Hunter, and Jerry Jeudy.
I'm going. Give me Travis Hunter.
Yeah, and if you made that trade, and you'd have McCarthy with 3 good, 3 potentially good
Cedric
receivers.
Tillman out of it.
Oh, Cedric.
Forget Cedric. Give him back to the Vikings. Trade him to the Vikings in that deal.
Cedric Tillman is.
But there's no way the Vikings are making that trade.
I don't think the Vikings.
No, the Vikings is never taking that.
Tillman is celery at BW3s. That's the side. That's the side.
Sam Darnold had a heck of a season. There's no team saying that's our Super Bowl quarterback.
Hey, remember Case Keenum?
Now McCarthy might not be either, but
Case Keenum did the same thing with the Vikings like 10 years ago and lost in the playoffs. They thought he was going to be
It's so crazy that we was at a point where he was like, yeah, man, Darnold's not even going to hit the free agency. They going to franchise him or they going to re-sign him. They're not letting him walk. We seen them last 2 games. They
Confusion.
He ain't coming back.
Now he'll be starting from somebody next year.
Back here.
He'll be starting somewhere next year, no doubt. And somebody's going to pay him good money.
He really lost that money like that.
Oh, yeah.
I think he'll still get paid.
It wasn't what he was supposed to get.
No, it won't. No. Go ahead, Mike. Next.
All right, so this next one comes. This one, everyone craft all over. Just a heads up. I put it in here because
it's a Cooper Kupp.
No, the Rams one that I came up with is next. This is not this one. This is a Titans fan blog that came up with a Titans trade for Myles Garrett. I found so funny.
Do the Titans got anybody?
Just wait till you see this. I found this so funny. I thought it was worth including. Steve, let's see it. How about Myles Garrett and the number 2 pick for the number 1 pick? Their second round pick this year and a 2026 set. This is from Charm Sports NFL. This is not mine. I thought it was so funny it was worth throwing in there.
This is why they be trying to fleece people.
Why would
we do that?
That's essentially trading him for 2 second-round picks.
Why would I do? Why would we do that? And we swap in one spot. I mean, is Manning in this draft? Is Jeremiah Smith available? What are you talking about,
dude?
I told you this one was, I thought it was funny. I wanted to put it in there to show you the wide range of trades.
Yeah, that's absurd. All right, let's just move it on from that.
All right, Steve, you ready for the next one?
Who is their best player? The Titans?
Nobody.
They're
nobody.
I like that young running back they have. He's a decent player.
Tajay Spears.
Yeah.
And when Bull don't know your name, that means it don't count.
Yeah, especially your skill position.
Skill. If Bull don't know your name, you're
they ain't got no pass
Tajay
rusher,
Spears.
linebacker, corner.
No,
I don't even know. They suck.
They have Will Levis.
All right, so before I show you the last trade I came up with,
he sucks too.
and this next one that I actually came up with, a couple other teams that you could have put deals together for.
Yeah.
San Francisco, they have the 11th pick. They're in a win-now mode. Potentially, San Francisco could be in the market for a pass rusher. Steve Becker's texting us about the Eagles. G, you mentioned the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys.
What is he offering? What did Steve Becker offer?
I'm just saying that they're a team that.
Give me Jalen Hurts.
Again, it's a late pick.
I'm just throwing out other teams that could. Yeah,
those. Listen, Steve.
Give us
Eagles fans are the worst fans on the planet. Philly fans are the worst fans. They're so obnoxious. They hate Jalen Hurts. Trade us Jalen Hurts.
The trade is the Browns received Bryce Huff, the 25 first-round pick, 26 first-round pick, a third-round pick, and the Eagles get Myles Garrett.
Forget Huff. You upgrade that to Devontae Smith, we'll take it.
Oh, they're not.
All right, so here's the last deal. This is the one I came up with. I was looking around to find the team I thought made – or fit a couple criteria. It's the Rams, and we've already talked about it. Aggressive. We know they don't care about picks. They're in win-now mode.
Right.
We know they'll be aggressive to get a pass rusher. Cooper Kupp is now available, so I actually have Cooper Kupp in this deal. Yeah. And they have a plethora of young guys who showed some promise on the defensive end that could swap. So this is what I thought made sense, basing it off the Khalil Mack kind of template. Mm-hmm. But I thought the Browns could send Myles a 4th and a 6th to the Rams in exchange for their first this year, a 3rd this year, so they're moving up 13 spots in the middle rounds. A 26 first-round pick, Cooper Kupp and Byron Young. And the thought with Cooper Kupp is, I know he's old, but if you're going to draft a young quarterback, it gives him a security blanket, another weapon to help kind of adjust him to the NFL. And Andrew Berry loves trading for receivers.
This is
all right.
This ain't a bad deal.
The 3rd and 4th round pick is. You're going to get the same player at 90 as 103. I don't know that it really matters.
I'm just trying to put together based off the Khalil Mack thing. But this feels like about the right value.
I don't even know who Brian Young is.
He had 8 sacks again. He's 23 years old.
All right.
Second-year pass rusher.
All right, I'm in.
I take it.
It's a deal.
Let me see them first round. One this year,
2.
one next year.
Yeah,
it's 2 firsts.
Oh yeah, give it to me. I take
a
it.
Swap, Byron Young, and then you take on.
I take that.
The final year of.
The sick thing is
of Cooper Kupp to help whatever young quarterback.
The
just
sick
as another
thing is
option.
The Rams will be dang near Super Bowl contenders.
It depends how.
But it depends on
Stafford.
Stafford.
Still is.
Yeah.
They look good.
But. Yeah, he had his moments.
I just don't understand how they run the same things that the Browns run under Kevin Stefanski, and yet his offense looks so much better. They're like, picture this.
The Browns have Matthew Stafford?
No, but picture this though.
Yeah.
This is. I got to take it back to when Odell Beckham left this system to go to their system, which is pretty similar. Kevin said, we got to find a way to get him the ball. Sean McVay had this man dang near the MVP of the Super Bowl. Same year. He scored, 5 straight games, didn't he?
And we couldn't sniff none.
And they run similar system.
He had his moments.
Similar system.
His moments there.
I'm just saying.
What?
How? Y'all study the same stuff?
Both said it.
They have a quarterback. Matthew Stafford's a Super Bowl level quarterback.
Hey, man. Look, that's why it's unacceptable for anybody to be talking about we ain't gonna draft a quarterback till next year. No, you better figure it out. Sean McVay figured it out. That's not for Jared Goff is figured it out in Detroit. They got rid of him. Why everybody figuring it out except for us, man?
Well, the question is, can you win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff? I think he can.
Yeah.
I think he's the end of the tier.
Yeah. All right, so those are some ideas for some Myles Garrett trades. We'll see. We see some other ones we'll mention on the show, but I feel like that's a general range of what's a realistic return from Myles. We got one more Myles topic we'll get to after we talk some Cavs basketball. They host the Boston Celtics tonight. If you want to see the game in person, you better be using Game Time to get your tickets. The Game Time Picks app filters out the fluff to show you only the best deals, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And the best part, with Game Time Picks, you're covered with Game Time's lowest price guarantee. If you find a better deal somewhere else, they'll refund you 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are covered and guaranteed to be delivered on time with easy cancellation options if something comes up. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
I need what time is it back? Can we bring that back?
I may just add it in at the end, even though it's not in the read. But speaking of what time is it, it is time to break down the third matchup of the season between the Cavaliers and the Celtics. We all know in the first matchup this season, the Celtics handed the Cavs their very first loss of the year. In the second matchup in Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell went perfect in the fourth quarter, scored 20 points, led them to a come-from-behind win.
But the Celtics were without two of their three best players in that game.
In that game, yes. Tonight, everyone is healthy, by the way. The Celtics have nobody on the injury report, clean injury report.
What's the Cavs injury report?
Noah Coro and LeVert's a game-time decision, and Wade is out. So no Wade,
oh my God.
no Coro. But the Celtics are fully healthy. Guys,
LeVert would make a difference, I think.
Oh, for sure in this matchup. I agree.
Yeah.
What do you think, and if you want to say injuries, sure, that could be an answer, but what's the X factor tonight in the third matchup between the Eastern Conference's two best teams?
Darius Garland.
Why Darius?
Because if Darius has a great game, it seems like I feel like that was the key difference between the win and the loss. The loss,
Darius, that was an all-time bad game.
Yeah, and then the other one he played really well. And Darius has been playing a high-level basketball lately. Darius, to me, and if you think about the playoffs, Darius was the guy that didn't show up. G said this a long time ago. Anytime Darius plays well, like that kind of at least keeps them in the game and gives them a chance to win down at the end. And the way he's been playing lately, like he should be good to go. So if he has a good game, I think the Cavs still have everything it takes to win this game.
I agree. You can't when this matchup, it comes down to him and Drew Holiday. You can't let Drew Holiday play grown man basketball on you. You can't let 6'4" Drew Holiday back you down and turn layups and get rebounds and all that other stuff. He'd be doing that playing all slow, but being a veteran, being effective. Drew Holiday averaging 11. He got to come out here and he got to get him together. You need Darius Garland to be 21, 22, 23. If he get that amount of production, you know that Evan Mobley traditionally plays well against them. He needs to stay out of foul trouble and not be on the bench. But you get that together, all the rest of the guys will fall into motion and fall into place because they're playing at home. So your role guys are going to play a lot better. Sam Merrill need to knock down some jumpers, but eventually it all comes down to this. Is Darius Garland going to be that Darius Garland that's going to give you the all-star Darius Garland? And like what's the name said, like Donovan Mitchell said, he is expecting Mobley and Garland to play and to be all-stars all the time. It's just not sometimes now.
Danny Green was on the show with us earlier. If you missed it, he was on with us about an hour ago. He came on with us. If you missed it, make sure you go back and watch it because he was great. And when we asked him about Evan Mobley, he said he thinks it's possible he could be a better player than Anthony Davis down the line. Yeah. That was eye-opening.
He said top 75 all time.
He blew me away with those comments. And
that's crazy.
It wasn't like he's just coming on here saying great things about everybody's perfect. Like, I think he would have just said that if he didn't believe it. He's on ESPN. Like, he cares about his credibility. He's not just saying it because he's on in Cleveland. That was very eye-opening. To me, the X factor is the Cavs, to steal the old Rockets term, the Twin Towers. Right? No, it's not Akeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson. It's Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. The Celtics have a massive advantage at the 1, 2, and 3 spots in terms of size, right? And that was an issue in the first matchup, and they have a big size advantage. But the Cavs have a big size advantage up front, and they need to take advantage of that. I really think I heard Mike, as I was listening to the Ultimate Cavs, by the way, and I agreed with Evan419 who said Jason Lloyd looked very weird wearing a hat.
I was going to mention that when we get the super chat.
Wow.
Jason was off-putting today.
He was something weird. Jason, I don't know if he just woken up. I don't know what happened.
What are you talking about?
Jason was wearing a hat. It looks strange.
Finish your point on this. It's a great point.
You were saying that, and now I kind of forgot where I was going. Oh, the Twin Towers. So you were saying that the only criticism you have of Kenny Atkinson this season is that they maybe work the ball into the paint more. And they haven't like made a point of getting the ball down low. And in this game, this absolutely feels like you got to get the ball to Mobley and even Allen, but especially Mobley, when they're posting up down low, a little old school NBA, because we can't just rely on Donovan and Darius from the outside because they have great size in terms of defending those guys. It's in the paint, And if we wear them down in the paint, then some of their other good players have to help, and that's when Darius and Donovan can get open. So I think the key tonight is the big guys early scoring in the paint.
Let me ask, what is the Celtics starting lineup? Drew, Jalen,
Kobe White.
Derek White.
Derek White. Who's Kobe White?
He's
That's
on the Bulls.
with the Bulls.
Oh.
He's got an afro. Really good player.
Jason Tatum and Kristaps Porzingis, that's the 5?
Porzingis, Tatum, Brown, White, Holiday.
So you mean to tell me Jared Allen is checking Kristaps?
Most likely. And Mobley will go Tatum.
That's a problem to me, though.
I don't think Porzingis is blown by Jared Allen.
No, Kristaps been balling lately, though.
I don't think he's just going to just blow past him. I think that Jared Allen moves his feet. Now, if he gets hot, here's the problem: who you helping off for him?
that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying
that. Makes him dangerous.
But
that's exactly my point.
Is Porzingis good defensively? I have no idea.
It would be whoever checking Drew. I would just. That's not going to do nothing for you, though.
You can't.
Porzingis is a good rim defender.
He is.
He's a pretty good defender.
Evan Mobley needs to put on the big boy pants tonight, and he needs to take it to Jason Tatum.
Yeah, that was my. That was kind of my point this morning.
Oh yeah.
It comes down to, I go back to the Oklahoma City game when they lost in Oklahoma City on national TV, the bad game.
Yeah.
They had no Hartenstein, no Holmgren, and we said, hey, you got a massive size advantage down low.
Right.
You have two bigs that are bigger than anyone that OKC could put on the court. And I love how Kenny's transformed this offense into a movement, pass and cut, drive, kick. All that is great. But Kenny's also said this on multiple occasions that to win in the playoffs, you have to be versatile. And not every game is going to be copy and paste the same formula. And there are going to be some games where your best advantage is the fact that you have two offensive weapons in Allen and Mobley who can play together down low that other teams simply cannot match up size-wise with. Jason Tatum's a good defender, a legitimately good defender, and he's not a small guy. He's huge. In person, he's one of those guys that you see, and he's like, oh, he's actually bigger than he looks on TV. And he certainly can handle Evan Mobley. But if you're continuing to put the pressure on him when he's on defense by giving Mobley the ball in the paint and putting him in pick and rolls, you hope that takes a toll on his offensive game down the stretch, and that wears him down. So my X factor is kind of with Bull. Use Mobley and Allen as a weapon, attack Tatum or Brown or whoever is in the mismatch guarding him, and make him play defense.
And guys,
some fouls.
I think tonight's a statement game in a way. I mean, I don't think there's really. I don't know if that's really a thing in the regular season.
No, it is. I agree.
In a way, it is. It's on TNT. You're playing the defending champs. There is, no matter how good the Cavs record is, there is a feeling from some people, like a lot of people that are not Cavs fans, that I don't know how legit this team is.
We don't know Danny Green said it. I gotta see him in the playoffs.
Exactly.
It's the playoffs.
And that's fair.
They've always had great regular seasons, but the playoffs it's different basketball.
If Evan Mobley has a monster game tonight and really takes it to Tatum,
he did that before.
That's going to be a huge story.
I would start off the game. I would run my entire offense through the big motion at the high post. I would get the ball in the high post, and I'm looking down low to see who's down there. If it's Jared Allen with somebody caught on him small, I'm going to him. Or if it's Jared Allen getting the ball at the top of the key, and then Mobley flashing hard to post up. And to me, look, Al Horford has to be barbecue chicken. I'm not gonna let that man sit in here and crawl up the floor with that walker.
Yeah. How much does he play these days with Porzingis back?
With that walker,
Mike, does he still play?
I'm looking at their recent game log. I'm not sure. I mean, he played 11 minutes
He gonna play tonight.
The Sixers the other night.
Yeah. Sit right in
Luke
that short
Cornett
corner.
has been getting some more minutes from him at the big position. He's their other big. He played 11, 25, 19. He played about 20 minutes tonight. The Cavs have to win the Al Horford.
There's no team.
He be hitting that corner.
No team in the history of basketball that does a better job of loading up on random white dudes on the bench than the Celtics.
They
are the king of that.
Al Horford's not white.
I know he's not white, but Cornett's white.
Cornett, Sam Hauser,
Pritchard. They always have these guys on the bench.
They got the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC,
Drew Peterson,
Color Me Bad.
By the way, here's
House
my
of
night
Pain.
tonight. I know most of our audience doesn't care, but I grew up a massive St. John's fan. And when I was a kid, St. John's was in the tournament every year. We had Chris Mullin, Bill Weddington, Andrew Berry, Malik Sealy, Mark Jackson, on and on and on. All these great players that most of them were really good in the NBA too. And so for years, St. John's was my basketball team. I didn't have a favorite NBA team as a kid. I liked watching the Celtics play the Lakers, but I did not have a favorite team. I was a St. John's fan. And over the years, as I moved away, got less interested in college basketball, I just kind of, didn't really watch them much. But they're having their best year in like 30 years. They're ranked number 11 or 12 in the country. And so they're playing Marquette, who's also ranked tonight. So I've got that game at 6:30. And the Cavs game won't even start till like 7:45.
TNT always starts 11 minutes after the schedule.
So I'm to be honest, I'm watching the St. John's till it ends. I'm DVRing the Cavs, and then I'm starting the Cavs at 8:30. And I'll catch up with all the commercials and halftime.
11 minutes.
I just saw a study.
How'd you know exactly 11?
I'll find the tweet, but someone looked at the last 5 years of every nationally televised game and how long it took for the game to actually start. TNT's the quickest at 11 minutes. ESPN was the longest at 16. It's fascinating stuff. Let's make our predictions. Bull, do the Cavs beat the Celtics tonight and take a 2-1 series lead?
Evan Mobley, 29, 15, and 10 blocks. Triple-double Evan Mobley. The Cavs win it 113-106.
10 blocks.
Bush.
He get 10 blocks.
This is going to be a close game. It's going to come down to the stretch. Boston may get up about 9 or 10 in the third quarter. The Cavs come back. I got the Cavs pulling this thing out in the last 5 minutes. I'm gonna go high scoring affair. I'm gonna go 127-119 Cavs.
Tyvis?
Well, due to the fact that my co-host here decided to take the Cavs, we can't have a unanimous decision on the show. So therefore, I'm going to I'll be the villain and I'll take the Celtics. I think that they'll play some great defensive games. I think Jason Tatum's, he's been all right lately. Last game, they was down by like 30 points and came back and won the game against Philly. So I think that they on a cloud 9 right now. So I'm gonna say the Celtics win this game 115-109.
All right, Mike.
I'm going with the Cavs. They've won the last 4 meetings against Boston at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Last season in their final home game against the Celtics, it was the Dean Wade crazy fourth quarter. This time, the first matchup at home this year was the crazy Donovan fourth quarter. Give me a crazy Darius fourth quarter for the Cavs to pull out a tight victory and make a 5.5 game first place lead in the Eastern Conference, jump up to 6.5.
The Cavs are a 2-point favorite?
They are a 2-point favorite.
The Celtics would be favored against any other team with the health right now. Even against Oklahoma City, I feel like they'd be favored on the road. No? Maybe not against Oklahoma City?
Probably not OKC. Probably everyone else.
That's, they got their whole team.
Yeah.
That won an NBA title without Porzingis, who's an all-star level player.
Yeah.
They're good. Should be a fun one tonight.
Yeah.
We're going to see.
Should be a fun one.
I'm
All
excited.
right, guys, last read. We'll get to our last topic. G, you doing an Ultimate Brown show this afternoon?
Yes.
5 o'clock?
5 o'clock, yes.
On the dot?
Yeah, 5. Hey, by the way, too, I got an announcement. I'll probably make it on here tomorrow. Coming up. Yeah, no. Actually, I'm going to make the announcement on Friday.
Make it Friday?
Yeah, I'll make it
Okay.
Friday.
That's a great tease, G. But we got a big announcement from G. Bush coming on Friday. All right, so we've talked about the Myles Garrett trade in a number of different ways so far. Do they have to trade him? What do the trades look like? But the other part of the Myles Garrett situation is the ripple effects. How does Myles Garrett asking for a trade impact the futures of other veterans like Denzel Ward, Nick Chubb, Joe Bitonio, and David Njoku? Tyvis, do you think we'll start with Denzel just to start. We'll kind of make our way through each of these guys. Does what Myles did and is him requesting a trade going to impact Denzel Ward's future with the Cleveland Browns?
No, not at all. I think Denzel will tell you he's not high enough on the totem pole, as he would say. He's just the guy that's going to come in and do his work, play as hard as he can, and hopefully the Browns can turn something around. I don't think it has any effect on what Denzel will do. I don't think he's going to come out and request a trade or anything like that. He's been playing some really good ball, so he has no reason to. Nick Chubb, on the other hand. Do you want me to keep going, or you just want me to?
Yeah,
stop?
you run the gambit, and then we'll all kind of discuss.
Nick Chubb will be back on a 1-year deal because they got too much respect and love for him to just do him dirty. So he'll be back on a 1-year deal no matter what. I think Bitonio's retiring, and I think they should trade David Njoku.
It's sad to say this, but when you 3-13 and we didn't have 3-14, and we didn't, we've had these people in the squad. It's like saying, all right, well, we had all these people in the team last year, and they contributed to a 3-14 loss. So it's almost like, I mean, I'm not gonna say who cares, but they were part of not moving the needle. Bitonio's a little older. I mean, he could come back. Njoku, I thought Njoku had a down year last year. I thought he was a little bigger. I thought I saw a little less burst. Chubb obviously is coming off of surgery, and he got injured again. He broke his foot. Now you're coming off back-to-back things, and like you said, Denzel Ward, he's a concussion away from being out multiple weeks. So, here's the reality of it. When Myles Garrett asks for a trade, and that thing happens, you almost look at the rest of your team like, I mean, are you guys moving the needle? Like if 3 or 4, if 2 of those guys decided not to play or they weren't with the Browns, do you think it's that big of a deal between them going 3-14 or anything? No, it just don't. It's just.
Go ahead.
I love using G. Bush's line. There's levels to this thing. Myles Garrett, as you said, he has the cachet. Myles Garrett's a superstar.
Yeah.
So he can say, I want to be traded. And even though the Browns don't have to,
they're going to look.
He probably will end up getting traded.
Right.
And if he doesn't, Myles Garrett has the cachet and has made the kind of money that he could hold out if he really wanted to. I don't know that he would, but he could. These other guys are not holding out.
They're going to come
David
to work.
Njoku already asked for a trade. And the Browns were like, nah, we're not trading you.
Years ago.
And it was like, yeah, that's cute. You only can ask for a trade, especially in the NFL, if you're a superstar.
And you got
That's the only way you can get away with it. If you're top of the heap.
T. Higgins can't even get mad. Jamar Chase can get mad.
Yeah. That's it. So, no, none of the. I don't think it affects. I don't think Joel Bitonio is saying, I was thinking about coming back, but now Myles Garrett wants to get traded, so now I'm not coming.
No.
He may retire. Maybe Tyvis is right. It wouldn't shock me if he did, but I don't think Myles Garrett's trade request is affecting Joel Bitonio's decision. Obviously, I don't know that for sure. That's just my guess. Joel Bitonio is not stupid. He knows the Browns are not going to be good next year, whether Myles Garrett's here or not. Obviously, you're better with Myles Garrett, but Myles Garrett's not going to be the difference between the Browns going to the Super Bowl or not going to the Super Bowl. Not on this team. So I don't think it affects any of these other guys. Now, could it lead to some of those guys getting traded? I guess it could. But I'm with Tyvis. I think Denzel Ward's going to stay here. I know Tyvis brought up.
Even Cleveland.
I know you brought up trading David Njoku. I just don't know what you'd get that it would be worth trading him.
I mean, they got tight ends coming out of the college.
I don't think anybody's giving
ready to catch the football or anything. Like
he's a nice player, David Njoku, but he's nothing special.
Yeah.
And if Nick Chubb wants to come back, the Browns could use a little good PR. They have none.
Yes.
So it would be wise to bring Nick Chubb back if he wanted to. But who knows? Maybe Nick Chubb would rather go play somewhere else. I don't know.
They just don't.
He's from Georgia, the Atlanta guy. They got a bunch of running backs.
Tyvis, man, when you watch this team, they're just old and slow and plodding.
Listen.
And no game breakers. Like when other teams play the Browns.
Judy was a game breaker.
Only with Jameis.
Only with Jameis.
Like
when other teams play us, they look at us like, "Oh, we playing the Browns." Keep everything in front of us. They're not.
Oh, I said that for years.
I mean,
they ain't got nobody to stretch the field.
Did you play the Browns ever?
No.
No.
I wish I did.
I mean,
when I was playing though, that was.
But like with guys, when you're in the locker room in the NFL, are you talking about other teams in the league?
I used to ask all the time, if the Browns traded for you, how would you?
Because you specifically asked just because you're from here.
Yeah, well, this is 0-16 and 1-2.
Yeah, so during that stretch, teams were talking about.
Oh yeah,
how embarrassing that was.
Oh yeah,
and you asked what would some of these guys
I
say?
had coaches. My boy Halfley was here.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan was here. Halfley was here. I used to ask him about all like the Cleveland, what happened with the Browns. Halfley was like, man, you know what? If Cleveland asked me to come back, I'd do it. He said, I actually like my time in Cleveland. Kyle, obviously, you know Kyle. He did, so.
Had the PowerPoint to get out of here.
That's a whole nother one. Like, I keep forgetting, like it's just, I don't know, Bull. Like, it's just, it don't, look, I'm just going to have to just start watching the Cavs extra heavy, like, because this Brown stuff, man, like, you know, we went through the 1-31 to get these players. Now you selling us that we got to go through another 1 and something and tear it all the way down to be like, come on, man.
Why are you acting like this? That team does not have to be good until 2029. We got all the time to be.
That's crazy.
It's what it is.
I know Jason said the same.
What it is. I've been saying it for months. It's what it is.
That's why.
Once you see them get that dome and they said it was opening in 29, I need this team to be playoff ready 28, so that thing can be packed out 29.
I don't respect
you
it.
got 3 years to get this thing going.
I don't respect it.
I give you 3 years
You know what's saying?
to get this going.
Is that fan?
It's no reason. It's not by accident that Deshaun Watson comes off the book win.
Yeah, but you know what the sad thing about that is, and I'm not blaming the fans because I get it. I'm a fan too, and we're diehard. It's not easy to just shut off your fandom. That's nearly impossible. What sucks is that no matter how crappy the Browns
enjoy the ride,
are,
bull.
no matter how crappy the Browns are, for how many years, fans will stick with the team.
I'll be there. I'll be there cheering them on. You gonna look for them younger guys.
A friend of mine said to me yesterday, he's like, thank God I have the Cavs and the Guardians, because otherwise I don't know if I could get up in the morning. And I said, you're right. The Cavs are in a great spot. Yeah, I was talking with him like, I'm frustrated by the Guardians' lack of spending. But you know what? They always lose the offseason, and they're almost always competitive. But I said to him, but in the end, you're in the minority, man. Because most of my friends here, and all the fans I talk to, ultimately the Browns just mean more than the other teams.
Listen,
it doesn't. I'm not saying it doesn't matter that the other teams are good. Of course, it matters, and everybody cares. But it's not the same thing.
That's a fact. For me, it's different though. I got
sure.
4. I got Ronnie, I got Denzel, Mike, and DeJuan all there. Like I'm sitting there cheering on Buckeyes. So and all of them will be here hopefully by 29. Maybe not Denzel because he'll probably be retired by then.
At some point, man, you just want people to take their job seriously. And they don't take their job serious like that. It's just like every regime that comes in here think they got a magic wand and their 3 to 5 year plan is the best plan. Like I just go back and realize that there was a whole year that Andrew Berry didn't have no linebackers or D linemen.
Yeah, that was two. Joe Woods last year.
3 seasons.
We had no D tackles.
Just no D tackle. Like you just was like, I'm not even going to address it. And it's like you're wasting people's time, man. Like you think that like we come to watch you? We don't come to watch Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. We come to watch the team.
So, to me, the situation is what it is now. Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski are probably keeping their jobs. Probably. Kevin Stefanski's definitely keeping his job. Andrew Berry probably. I don't think anything's going to change. Who knows? So, okay.
It's a little too late for that right now.
Yeah,
what's the best we can make of it? The hope is that with experience, Andrew Berry can do a better job drafting. I know it's hard to believe that, but that's all I'm saying. I'm looking for the silver lining.
My silver lining is this. The only silver lining they have is it. And y'all might want to say, y'all can say as much as you want to from the hills, this draft class ain't good, this draft class ain't good. You better take a quarterback. It's the only thing that is going to give you any sort of hope. That's it. If you can, they can keep their jobs and win 5 games if they hit on the quarterback.
I don't listen to the group think from mock drafters this time of year. I don't know if these quarterbacks, how good they are. We'll see. I'll leave it to the decision makers. I think they should take a quarterback, but we'll see if they do it. But the bottom line to me is, and I said this the other day, and I don't know if it was G or Jay looked at me like I was crazy, and I'm exaggerating a little bit, but the Browns need to almost forget about free agency for now. And I know that sounds crazy. They need to spend the next 2 years drafting and developing. They got to hit home runs across the board.
They need a Kansas City Chiefs 2022 draft where you get.
No, they need 2 of those in a row.
I'm just saying to start.
Yes.
You got to start by stacking.
That's what you got. Forget about free agents.
If you don't get those young guys on the rookie contracts, doesn't matter.
Once the Browns have this crux of young talent, which hopefully they will in 2 years, then you go back to free agency. But not right now. I don't need them to sign a bunch of washed-up veterans. I need them to draft and hit and have good young players because they don't have any.
So the problem, Bull, that I see on the horizon is this: if you go that route and you say we're gonna depend on drafting, if the Browns don't win enough games, they're gonna fire both of them. Then you're hitting another reset because now the new general manager and the coach are gonna say, I never wanted that guy.
But not necessarily, G, because the key to me, Berry and Stefanski keep their jobs after this season based on the progress of the team, not the total wins.
Oh.
Because I think the only real way for the Browns to dig themselves out of this hole, as ugly as it might be, is through the draft. They've tried free agency. They've tried to trade. They've got to get it right in the draft. And if they get a quarterback this year, let's say they do.
Yeah.
And they go 5-12, but the quarterback looks like he's going to be good.
That's the only way.
That's what they got to do.
If you get a tackle and another D tackle and some Minimowski picks with no,
forget it. Then everybody's gone.
Let me ask you
you're gonna get fired.
Let me ask you
that is correct.
Would this make you semi-excited for the season? Let's say the Browns. Yeah. Let's say Cam Ward goes at 1. Let's say the Browns do go with Shedeur Sanders at 2. And over the course of the offseason, they decide to make a trade for a wide receiver, either a Garrett Wilson or a DK Metcalf. Would you be excited going into the season?
I'd be excited for any quarterback that is starting the season.
Which you
I'd be excited. I'd be realistically excited.
Not saying
they're not winning. They're not
winning nothing.
They're not going to no playoffs. Quarterback.
No playoffs.
No, they could make the playoffs.
But
even all these comparisons to Jaden Daniels. First of all, Jaden Daniels is the best rookie we've ever seen. The year after, C.J. Stroud was the best rookie we'd ever seen.
No, vice versa.
What'd I say?
Daniels, then Stroud.
The year
Stroud,
before,
then Daniels.
So
I said Jaden Daniels was the best rookie quarterback we've ever seen. The year after, no.
I thought you said the next year you said C.J. Stroud, but C.J. Stroud.
No, the year after
same
we saw
difference.
It doesn't matter. You knew what I was getting at, and the point is that that's almost impossible. And by the way, even if Shedeur Sanders is as good as Jaden Daniels, he's playing in the AFC and not the NFC, so it's harder. But yes, I would be realistically excited for a rookie quarterback. And if they traded for a proven wide receiver.
Put it in the chat. Listen, if you put it in the chat, hey, would you, if the Cleveland Browns have a rookie quarterback starting game 1 next year, will you be more excited with that or Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter or some retrade quarterback?
I think so many fans have read it's a bad quarterback draft. It's a bad that in their mind, it's a sure thing that these quarterbacks are not good.
Well, the last time they said the quarterback class wasn't good was the Kenny Pickett year, and they wasn't wrong.
But there's been other years.
but there's been.
They also said the Trevor Lawrence class was historically good, and that turned out to be
by the way, when Myles Garrett was drafted first overall, nobody was talking about Patrick Mahomes
at
nobody.
all. Nobody.
I don't think we ever talked about him going number 1.
Nobody.
None of the mock drafts had him going number 1. None of that.
Because if you think about it, like if they're gonna play the political games, you go finish it off, do it all the way political. All right, well, listen, you have nothing to sell because you traded your best player, Myles Garrett. You got an older team. You don't have any splashes. You don't have a quarterback. What's the best way to get people excited about something?
Justin Fields.
No,
nobody's excited about that.
Even if the quarterback
Bucks.
Even if the quarterback is not that good this year, people will give him 17 games to see. And for those 17 games, I'm going to be locked in. Everybody will be locked in.
Yeah, you have to.
Because now you're looking at a quarterback and you're trying to figure out if he's good or not. And guess what? If he's bad and your whole political game was to get good by the time the dome opened, well, you can pivot and get rid of this guy and draft another quarterback.
You can do the same thing with Justin Fields.
I'm not. I want my own baby.
Justin Fields, I'm not excited for Justin.
Why? Is it because he's a Buckeye?
Yeah, I hate Buckeyes.
All right, let's get to some super chats to wrap up today's show. First one comes from M. Vines, who says, the scary thing about the Browns is that this represents decades of ineptitude. This goes back further than AB and Stefanski.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking at you, Jimmy.
Well,
it goes back before Jimmy.
Too. He has continued it.
But hold on. Look, well, you know this.
Yeah.
Jimmy Haslam, the same thing they say about Jimmy, they said about Lerner.
I was only here, I don't know when Jimmy bought the team, 13, 12? I can't remember.
12.
Okay, so I hadn't been here that long. I moved here in the summer of 2011. When Jimmy bought the team, we were excited.
Because Lerner had all this time across the ocean, didn't care about the Browns, he hated the team. Everything they say about Jimmy, they have said against other owners.
The only issue with Jimmy, the thing that the Browns have missed miserably on is that they just thought, you know what, we got an owner that's going to spend money, so we just going to throw money at the situation, and that's the wrong way to do it. You got to develop something at some point, and they missed on that.
Well, Jimmy's too involved.
Seriously.
The last owner was not involved enough. This owner's involved too much. That's part of the problem.
All right, next one.
Go ahead.
This is a Myles Garrett trade proposal from Chris Fox.
All right.
Myles Garrett to the Patriots for Joe Milton, a first and 2 seconds.
Didn't you?
Joe Milton?
You a Joe Milton. You a Joe Milton guy.
I like him.
He played one game.
It
was an unbelievable game.
I liked him at Tennessee.
He got a big arm.
First of all, I don't want Joe Milton.
I like Joe Milton.
No offense to Joe Milton, but even though I'm offending him.
Give me
number two, the Patriots wouldn't make that trade. The Patriots are not a contender. Yeah. Why would they trade the whatever pick they have in the draft, fourth pick, for Myles Garrett when they stink?
Yeah, I don't think they would trade it, but no. I would be intrigued by it.
They need to put weapons around their young quarterback.
They're taking Travis Hunter.
Next up, Eddie Everhart, our guy Eddie says, people always want to stock up on trade capital for next year, but when the draft comes, they don't want to trade the extra first to go get a quarterback.
Facts.
Yeah, that's
facts.
Not us, but a lot of fans are like
everybody want to hoard these picks up. They worse than the Guardians. We got the top prospect in left field, right field, shortstop. Are you going to move it for a proven guy? No. And then 5 years later, at the bottom of the little small crawl, it says, the Guardians have released George Valera.
Have DFA'd
George Valera. George Valera no longer
signed to a minor league contract.
I'm so mad at Jason for that.
Come on, man.
George Valera. I'm telling you guys.
He's almost
George Valera, when he gets up here, I'm telling you.
The Lord. This close.
Jason's patting himself on the back right now for saying the cat matters. So you can hit him with George Valera.
Yeah,
we can hit him with Jed Wills.
Yeah, yep.
We can hit him with.
But he was right on DeJuan Jones, though.
Yeah, that's true.
What did he say about
loves
DeJuan?
Gabriel Arias, too. That's another guy he loved.
Next one comes from Mick McGee, who says, fire Andrew Berry and hire Kevin Costner from draft day.
Mick McGee. Could that guy be more of an Irish name?
Hey, man, I didn't know that Kevin Costner was in love with Whitney Houston in real life.
Two more.
Yeah. What?
Javier.
He wasn't in love with Whitney Houston in real life.
Yeah, crazy.
Javier
That movie
Rivolar
sucked, by the way.
Says draft Abdul Carter, sign Justin Fields, and then draft Milroe or Dart in the second. That's his
Why
plan
would
to
you
fix the
draft
Browns.
the Milroe thing?
Hey, watch him run. Listen, watch him run Wildcat. Hey, listen, he's Anthony
Richardson. When Lamar was coming out,
yeah,
what was his issue? What was the knock on Lamar?
Nothing. Lamar Jackson.
What is it that people didn't like about him?
He had his completion percentage, I don't think, was very good.
It was 57%.
So is Milroe's better?
Yeah, it's in the 60s.
No, there's no comparison coming out of college. I don't know how good.
But very different pass charts. If you look at the charting of how they threw,
Milroe just throw deep balls, though, right?
No.
I don't think Milroe. I mean, what do I know? But I don't think he's going to be drafted in the first round. But
no,
I don't either.
No,
I don't really know. But
McShay said after the Senior Bowl, any thoughts he had about him potentially being a first-round pick had gone out the window. So.
They said his stuff.
Last one comes from Charles T, who says, G and Tyvis.
Ooh.
When you guys are on a show with Bull, you have to get him to wear a hat. Bull, are you ever going to bring back the beard?
I mean, I shave
Have you ever worn a hat in your life?
I don't even think you wore a hat during a baseball when you were coaching.
Yeah, Bull wears hats during baseball.
I wear my baseball cap when I coach. Yeah.
He calls it a cap though, not a hat.
What size fitted hat you wear?
They're not fitted.
Oh, he don't do the fitteds.
You ain't got the fitted on.
Well, it's the Little League. I wear my Little
No,
League
I don't
cap.
have one on today.
The Little League caps are not fitted.
Yeah.
But I have a fitted hat.
Your joint look like an 8.
I got a big head.
Yeah, 8.8 in the 4th.
It's a great transition, though, Bull, because
Yeah.
you mentioned earlier in the show, and I wanted to bring this back up, but
we're out of time.
Evan419 called out Jason for wearing the hat today, and you agreed with him.
Yo, he looks so. It was so funny that Evan mentioned that because I was
Is
looking
this on
at
the Ultimate Cam?
Yeah, I saw Jason and I'm like, Jason looks really bizarre today. I don't know what it is.
See, you know,
and then Evan goes, "Oh, Jason looks weird with the hat." And I'm like, "That's it. It's the hat."
It's one of those things. See, it's called the Born Legacy identity.
Yeah.
See, white dudes randomly could be FBI and CIA agents. We're too recognizable. Can y'all sneak up on somebody in France? No. They're like, it was that big black guy with the hat. Why
That's
is he
true.
everywhere
You guys
I'm
would
gone?
stand out in France.
The dad hat.
Jason,
Not only you black, but you're huge.
Yeah,
that's a double whammy.
Jason could put the hat on and blend right on in.
That's it. Jason's a random white dude. You know,
Random.
average height.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Wow.
The dad hat.
Man,
It literally said dad on it. It was the dad hat. All right, we'll see you in overtime.
Yeah.
Peace.
Deuces.